Chapter 855. A broken saint weapon was still a saint weapon. No matter how broken it was, it still had some saint aura. After Yang Wu was suppressed, the people of the Red River Gang cheered. The people of the Julang Gang were extremely anxious, especially Liang Rulong, who wished he could suffer for Yang Wu. That was their young master. If he was killed, what should they do? Let go of the young master. Liang Rulong roared. Haha, he's dead for sure. Li Honghe laughed proudly. Asterisk, dong dong. Asterisk, the shrinking sky, suppressing pagoda, emitted a series of shocking sounds. Fist imprints appeared on the pagoda. Don't make any unnecessary struggles. Suppress him for me. Li Honghe shouted and poured his energy into the sky, suppressing pagoda. He must let the sacred pagoda kill Yang Wu as soon as possible. The fist imprints in the pagoda grew stronger and stronger. After the pagoda suffered a series of attacks, the cracks on the pagoda expanded infinitely. Then it completely exploded. Asterisk bang. Asterisk, the broken sky, suppressing pagoda, was completely destroyed. Li Honghe was sent flying by the shockwave. His face became extremely ugly. He couldn't help but order, don't hold back anymore. Let's kill him together. He was the first to strike. Holding a saber in his hand, he slashed at Yang Wu with all his might. The chaotic saber light sealed off a part of the world. The other small saints of the Red River Gang also attacked with all their strength. Their attacks covered the sky and covered the earth as they enveloped Yang Wu. They must kill Yang Wu as soon as possible. Save the young master. Wu Yu ordered. He led the others to kill at full speed to save Yang Wu. When these forces enveloped Yang Wu, a deathly aura suddenly enveloped Yang Wu's body. The deathly aura swept over their hearts, and their life force immediately showed signs of withering. The fear of facing death appeared in their minds. They were so scared that their minds were in chaos, and their attacks were all messed up. I'll send you all to hell, Yang Wu said faintly. His ice-bladed wings slashed out. Asterisk puff puff. Asterisk one by one. Their heads were beheaded by the ice blade wings. They didn't even know what was going on until they died. Yang Wu didn't care about the people behind him. He rushed towards Li Honghe and smashed apart Li Honghe's blade light. Li Honghe was shocked. He realized that he had no way to deal with Yang Wu. Before he could escape, he felt the death chi wrapping around him. His lifespan was mercilessly sucked away. He was so scared that he hurriedly operated his defensive power to isolate himself from the death chi. But by the time he tried to escape, it was already too late. Yang Wu's fist punched toward his face. No! Bang! Li Honghe's head was shattered by Yang Wu's punch, and his headless corpse fell into the river. Yang Wu looked at the dead Li Honghe and said indifferently, "This is called the Fist of Morality." When the surrounding Red River Gang members saw Li Honghe being killed, they were so scared that they wet their pants. Li Honghe was their gang leader and had the strongest combat strength. Now that he was killed, who could stop this young man? The young man turned around, and a few more heads were reaped by the ice blade wings. The Red River Gang members didn't know how they were killed, but they were sure that it was related to this young man. The young man didn't pay attention to the retreating Red River Gang members. His gaze locked onto the half-sage who was fighting Liang Rulong. That half-sage quivered and ran away without hesitation. The half-sage hated that he wasn't born with 2 more legs. He was afraid that if he ran too slowly, the young man would catch up to him. Why are you running away so fast? I still want to talk to you about morality. It was unknown when a young man appeared in front of him and said lazily. That half-sage was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. He changed his direction and ran in another direction. He used all his mystic chi and flashed his mystic chi wings to get as far away from the young man as possible. Who knew that before he could run far, the young man would appear in front of him again. He turned to run again, but the young man would appear in front of him again. He was so scared that he cried, "Please let me go. I'm just following orders. Tell me, is this really the Li clan's intention?" The young man wasn't in a hurry to kill the person in front of him and asked calmly. The half-sage stammered, It could be considered so." "What do you mean it could be considered so? If you don't hurry up, I'll twist your head off and kick it like a ball." The young man said viciously, "It is our Li clan's intention, But there are people who don't agree. The half-sage hurriedly replied, "Be more specific. How many benefits did the Xing clan give your Li clan?" "Half of a Yang clan's territory." The half-sage told him everything he knew. The Xing clan and the Li clan were on the same side. Once the Yang clan was destroyed, half of the Li clan's territory would belong to them. Now that the Red River Gang was preparing to destroy the Zhulang Gang, they wanted to cut off some of the Yang clan's claws and fangs. They wanted to show their attitude and work with the Xing clan to deal with the Yang clan. In the past, the Yang family and the Li family had formed an alliance because of the Azure bloodline. An important figure in the Li family had married the younger sister of the Yang family's patriarch. After the Yang family's patriarch was replaced by Yang Jinghai, this layer of relationship began to break apart. Yang Wu didn't think about such a deep problem. He only realized that his clan situation wasn't good. If the two clans really worked together to deal with the Yang clan wouldn't be able to escape this calamity. After all, his great-grandmother had already passed away. Without her, it would be very difficult to resist the attacks of these two clans. After the half-sage finished explaining everything, he thought that he could leave alive. Who knew that Yang Wu didn't have any intention of letting the tiger return to the mountain? The half-sage was still killed by Yang Wu. After Yang Wu killed the half-sage, the people of the Red River Gang were scared out of their wits and fled one after another. After Yang Wu returned, he led the Zhulang Gang straight to the Red River Gang's territory. Since they had already started fighting, they might as well go all out and loot their territory. How could the Red River Gang's people be able to do anything? They were all killed by the Zhulang Gang. Yang Wu led Liang Rulong into the Red River Gang's territory like a hot knife through butter. The formations here couldn't do anything to Yang Wu. He saw through them one by one and took away all the valuable things here. After this battle, the Red River Gang ceased to exist. The Zhulang Gang didn't station themselves in the Red River Gang's territory. Instead, they returned to their own territory. They had to prevent the Li clan from retaliating after receiving the news. Liang Rulong offered the spoils of war to Yang Wu and said, "Young clan head, these are all yours." The half-sage Liang Rulong bowed a little low. His attitude was sincere, without the slightest reluctance. With his strength, he didn't even need to lower himself in front of the clan head. He was so respectful to Yang Wu not only because of Yang Wu's status, but also because Yang Wu's performance was too stunning. His future was limitless. Such a young clan head was worthy of such treatment. Yang Wu didn't stand on ceremony and put away the universe rings. He said, "You're quite loyal to the Yang clan. I'll explain this matter to the clan head." Liang Rulong replied, "Young clan head, this is what we should do. Without the Yang clan's territory, how could we live a peaceful life?" "Hee, I'm afraid you haven't had a peaceful life for a long time." Yang Wu smiled faintly. Yang Wu already knew a thing or two about the Yang clan situation. This man's words were a bit untrue. Liang Rulong laughed dryly and said, "Compared to many places, it's already very good." Yang Wu patted Liang Rulong's shoulder and said, "You're very good. The Yang clan is lucky to have someone like you." After a pause, he asked, "How long have you been stuck in the half-sage realm?" Liang Rulong thought and said, "Nearly 100 years." His tone was indescribably depressed. With his talent, it would be difficult for him to advance even half a step. "Then you haven't obtained any saint herbs that could help you improve your strength over the years?" "Yes, I did. I once took a saint herb to reach my current strength. After that, I took another one, but my strength didn't improve much. I think I'll be like this for the rest of my life. Young clan head, you don't have to worry about me. This strength is already very good." "Well, it's good that you think this way. I wanted to see if I could get you a saint pill to help you break through that step. Now it seems that I don't need it for the time being." Young clan head, is there really a saint pill?" Liang Rulong's eyes glowed. "Only with enough saint herbs can you refine a saint pill. Let's put this matter aside for now. We'll talk about it again in the future." Yang Wu replied. Liang Rulong rubbed his hands and said, "Just gather enough saint herbs. Does young clan head know any saint alchemists?" His eyes were filled with desire. Who didn't want to step into the Star Ruin realm? "Yes, I do." "Young clan head, you're an alchemist? How come I don't look like one?" Hee hee, you don't look like one at all. Yang Wu didn't have the leisure to talk so much nonsense with Liang Rulong. He seriously told Liang Rulong that he could refine a saint pill, which shocked Liang Rulong quite a bit. Liang Rulong came back to his senses and didn't continue to dwell on this matter. He invited Yang Wu to his clan as a guest. His territory was built by the water, and the environment was quite good. There were small bridges and flowing water, pavilions, and the fragrance of flowers. It was a quiet place to live. Yang Wu didn't think that a rough man like Liang Rulong could build such a residence. It was truly an eye-opener. Not long later, he found out that Liang Rulong had a gentle wife, and she was the one who personally supervised the construction of this residence. Yang Wu also saw Liang Rulong's wife at the banquet. She was a woman who understood the general situation. After toasting to Yang Wu, she quietly left. After Yang Wu drank for 30 days, he mentioned to Liang Rulong again, "If you have enough saint herbs, take them out. I'll refine pills for you. I'll give you 1 day. If you're afraid that I'll take advantage of you, you don't have to take it to heart." After becoming a fleshly saint, he felt that it was necessary to try refining a saint pill. "Young clan head is too kind. I'll go and take out all the saint herbs." Liang Rulong no longer pretended and hurriedly went to take out the treasured saint herbs. Yang Wu also took the opportunity to look at his spoils of war. A large number of Red River Clan spirit treasures were with him, and these things didn't disappoint him. Li Honghe's universe ring had a total of 5 saint herbs. Even if the medicinal effects weren't excellent, it was still precious. Chapter 856. The Red River Gang was a third-rate force, and their foundation was quite good. Yang Wu and the Colossal Wave Gang had plundered their territory, and their harvest was not small. Other than a few stalks of saint herbs, there were many small saint herbs, heavenly herbs, king herbs, and many other strange items. Most of them had fallen into Yang Wu's hands, and Liang Rulong didn't dare to take the biggest share. Yang Wu picked out many useful items from the pile. Among them, there were 2 saint-tier demonic cores that could be used to concoct saint pills. One of them was actually the demonic core of a demon tortoise. He murmured, "When I bring Little Silver back, it wouldn't be a bad idea to reward it to him." Little Silver was a silver-patterned turtle. Liang Rulong gathered a lot of herbs and gave them all to Yang Wu. Among them, there were 3 stalks of saint herbs that he had collected over the years. There was also a saint-level demon core, which was extremely valuable. He didn't have the ability to kill a demon overlord, and it was an unexpected gain. Now it could be put to good use. Yang Wu took these herbs and thought for a long time before he said to Liang Rulong, "You have barely gathered enough ingredients to refine a saint pill. If I accidentally destroy a stalk of saint herb, the saint pill might be gone." Liang Rulong said generously, "Young clan head, feel free to use it. If the saint herb is gone, it's gone." The man said generously, but in his heart, he was worried that the saint herb would really be destroyed. This was a saint item that he had obtained with great difficulty. If it was really gone, it would be strange if he didn't feel the pain. Yang Wu could see that this man didn't mean what he said, but the other party was willing to give so many herbs to him. His intentions were quite good. And don't worry, if you can refine the saint pill, it means that you have the chance to enter the star pattern realm. If you can't, you can only blame your bad luck. Yang Wu replied softly. Liang Rulong nodded and didn't refute. His heart was beating like a drum. "Young clan head, do you really know how to refine pills?" Liang Rulong had long since learned of Yang Wu's origins. He came from the sinner's bloodline and was a peerless genius from the mortal world. However, he had never heard of him being able to refine pills. Yang Wu brought Liang Rulong to a quiet mountain. This was also one of the territories under the jurisdiction of the Zhu Lang gang, so there was no need to worry about anyone coming to disturb them. "Stand guard for me. No one is allowed to get close to this place. You should stay away as well," Yang Wu instructed Liang Rulong. "Yes, young patriarch." Liang Rulong responded and retreated. He quickly sensed the situation around him and didn't allow anyone to approach. Yang Wu first observed the terrain, then chose a place where profound qi gathered, took out the bronze cauldron, and began to refine the holy pill. This time, he was only going to refine an ordinary holy pill the prominent holy pill. The prominent holy pill and the star pattern holy pill were both holy pills, but their levels were different. The prominent holy pill was an ordinary holy pill. It could increase the chances of a half-saint breaking through to the star pattern holy pill by 20 to 30%. The star pattern holy pill had at least a 70% chance of breaking through. The latter required more refining materials. Yang Wu had never refined a holy pill before, and he wasn't confident that he could refine a holy pill on his first try. After all, reaching the saint realm meant that his alchemy skills were very high. This was a major watershed for alchemists. Many little saint alchemists had been stuck and couldn't advance further. Yang Wu's body had reached the dragon transformation realm, and the divine court Dao flower had also undergone a shocking change. Furthermore, Lan Yaoji had also become a sacred flame. This was the reason why he dared to try to refine a sacred pill, and he only dared to choose the most ordinary sacred pill. Yang Wu started refining. Stalk after stalk of herbs he collected were thrown into the cauldron. Blue demonis burned on the cauldron, refining the essence of the herbs. At this moment, an illusory figure that Yang Wu couldn't sense appeared. It was the bronze cauldron spirit. It looked old and clumsy. It held a walking stick in its hand and looked at the young man refining. It couldn't help but sigh. This kid's physical body has reached the saint realm so quickly. He's not bad at all. The bronze cauldron spirit was an existence that could scare the pagoda spirit of the god of War Pagoda. It had existed for God knows how many years. It had existed since humans first learned how to cast cauldrons. It was an existence that could stand shoulder to shoulder with the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. It had gone through many alchemy masters before finally becoming an immortal cauldron. It wasn't inferior to Little Hay's Shinong immortal cauldron at all. The cauldron's spirit silently watched the young man refining. From time to time, it would reveal traces of nostalgia. It hadn't seen such an outstanding young man for many years. Although this young man wasn't born as an apprentice alchemist, his temperament was definitely outstanding. If his perception was better, he might grow even faster. Kid, the number of times you've refined pills is still too little. If you can wholeheartedly focus on refining pills, you will surely achieve great success in your pill making. When that time comes, you will become one of the noblest characters in the universe. Why not? The cauldron's spirit murmured. It pointed at the void. Yang Wu inexplicably felt that the herbs before him had become alive. It was as though he was standing in the middle of a medicinal garden. He could smell the fragrance of the herbs, understand their medicinal properties, and better utilize their medicinal efficacies to condense medicinal pellets. In the past, he only knew how to extract the essence of medicinal efficacies and fuse them into a medicinal pellet. But now he suddenly discovered that every drop of essence could be separated into a certain proportion and fused together. Only then could he utilize their medicinal efficacies perfectly without causing excessive wastage. The Dao flower of the divine court swayed gently. The superficial knowledge of pill making he had comprehended in Mount Hung was activated. It was integrated into his pill making, increasing his understanding of pill making. He analyzed every step he took, memorized the good ones, and eliminated the bad ones. His knowledge of pill making was slowly improving. The sacred pill required an extremely large number of herbs. After refining all of the herbs, the surroundings were filled with the smell of herbs. Furthermore, the ordinary herbs growing in the surroundings were rapidly growing as though they were being nourished by the medicinal efficacies. It was as though some kind of great Tao was being condensed. Yang Wu entered a state where he forgot about everything around him. There was only the cauldron and blue enchantress in his eyes. Cauldron spirit looked at Yang Wu and couldn't help but praise. Your perception is indeed not bad. In the next moment, it quietly disappeared into the cauldron. It was looking forward to the moment when the sacred pill was condensed. It had been a long time since it had enjoyed the feeling of being struck by sacred lightning. Its body felt a little itchy. When the sacred demon core was thrown into the cauldron, a sacred demon soul emerged. It was the soul of a giant shark demon. It bared its sharp teeth and pounced at Yang Wu. Its terrifying aura was enough to frighten any ordinary alchemist. Be obedient. Yangwu looked at the giant shark demon soul and murmured. His battle soul rushed out like a tiger. In just a few punches, the demon soul was severely damaged. After the demon body died, the remaining power of the demon soul would be reduced by more than half. How could it compete with Yangwu? Asterisk Hong Long Hong Long. Asterisk the pill tribulation arrived. In an instant, 36 heavenly lightning bolts struck down. Each of them was as big as a water bucket. The lightning energy contained in each of them was extremely terrifying. Even a peak minor saint would be turned into dust. There was a total of 36 heavenly lightning bolts. Even a half-step saint would be struck to death. Yangwu looked at the lightning bolts. His body soared up like an eagle, taking the initiative to receive the lightning bolts. He circulated the 9 lightning body tempering technique. The heavenly lightning bone in his body was sparkling and translucent. There was a cross mark on his spine. All of a sudden, the devouring power of the mark soared and absorbed the 36 heavenly lightning bolts. Liang Rulong, who was not far away, saw the sudden appearance of the terrifying heavenly lightning. His eyes twitched violently. He exclaimed, "Has the young patriarch really succeeded in refining the sacred pill?" He couldn't believe that Yangwu was an alchemist. Not only did he possess such great combat strength at such a young age, he was also a saint alchemist. How could he let others live? When he saw the heavenly lightning bolts striking down, his thoughts were shaken. Perhaps the young patriarch was really a saint alchemist. The power of the 36 heavenly lightning bolts was too terrifying. If he were to receive them, he would probably be buried here. When he saw the young patriarch soar into the sky and absorb the power of the heavenly lightning, his eyes almost popped out. Yangwu also didn't expect that the divine weapon electric fork would take the initiative to absorb the power of lightning. When the 36 heavenly lightning bolts landed on his body at the same time, he was in so much pain that he sucked in a breath of cold air. Even if he had refined saint body, he was still not a true saint realm expert. The 9 lightning body tempering technique took effect and tempered part of the lightning power into the heavenly lightning bone. Even more of the heavenly lightning power was absorbed by the electric fork. Yangwu only felt a burst of pain, but he didn't feel too uncomfortable anymore. However, the second wave of heavenly lightning quickly struck down. The number of heavenly lightning bolts in this wave was reduced by half. There were only 13 heavenly lightning bolts, but each of them was shockingly a scarlet flame lightning. They belonged to a variant of heavenly lightning. Moreover, the power of each heavenly lightning bolt was several times stronger than the previous one. Yangwu was blasted to the ground. The entire mountain completely disappeared. Liang Rulong was so scared that he hid as far as he could. Even if Liang Rulong was affected by this power, he would definitely die. This was a true saint lightning. It was too terrifying. After the scarlet flame, lightning disappeared. The third wave of heavenly lightning fell down. The power of the heavenly lightning was reduced to 6, but each of them was like a lightning snake descending. They were also suffused with a faint golden color. It was the golden snake lightning, which was of a higher level than the scarlet flame lightning. The 6 golden snake lightning wreaked havoc. The mountain was erased. The ground sank into a huge, deep pit. All the flowers and trees in the vicinity were destroyed. In the distance, the Zhulang gang's people were scared out of their wits. They looked at the heavenly thunder, and their complexions became incomparably pale. Their eardrums were shattered by the sound of the thunder, and some of the weaker cultivators directly fainted. What the hell is going on? Who dares to make such a big noise in the territory of our Zhulang gang? Could it be that a saint who cultivates the power of lightning has descended? The power of the heavenly lightning is too terrifying. If any of them were to land here, we would be completely obliterated. The gang leader and the young patriarch seem to be over there. Could it be that the Leaf family is taking revenge on us? Quickly enter a defensive state and activate the array. If any stranger comes near, immediately kill without mercy. Why do I feel like there is a saint alchemist refining pills? Those heavenly lightning bolts are like the pill tribulation that I have seen before. Chapter 857. The heavenly lightning fell, and the Saint Pill was formed. Many alchemists were willing to sacrifice their lives just to refine a Saint Pill, all for the title of Saint Alchemist. The pill tribulation of a Saint Pill was too terrifying, and it wasn't something an ordinary person could withstand. Yang Wu blocked the pill tribulation, and his heavenly lightning bone seemed to have been tempered again, becoming even tougher, and the lightning energy contained in it was even more powerful. Among them, the divine weapon electric fork absorbed the most lightning energy, and it also helped him share a lot of the pressure. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to block the heavenly lightning so easily, and even if he did, he would have to shed a few layers of skin. Out of the 3 waves of heavenly lightning, 2 of them were mutated heavenly lightning. After he endured them with great difficulty, the wounds all over his body split open. One could vaguely see the purple bones inside, which were still suffused with the power of lightning. He took a deep breath, and the power from all directions surged toward him. It continuously seeped into his nostrils, mouth, and pores, and quickly healed his wounds. Liang Rulong rushed over, and when he felt the xian-qi of heaven and earth rushing towards Yang Wu, he couldn't help but click his tongue. What a terrifying absorption speed. The energy within a radius of 10 miles was attracted by Yang Wu, forming a xian-qi whirlpool and unceasingly pouring into Yang Wu's body. This kind of momentum was not inferior to a saint absorbing energy. Not long after, Yang Wu stood up. Apart from his tattered clothes, his spirit and qi had completely recovered. Moreover, he appeared to be even more spirited. This caused Liang Rulong to be amazed. The ability of such a peerless monster was not something they could compare with. The Saint Pill should be formed, Yang Wu said to Liang Rulong, and then walked towards the bronze cauldron. He opened the cauldron's lid, and a fragrance wafted over 1,000 miles. An auspicious cloud appeared above the cauldron's mouth, and bursts of multicolored light flashed, causing a wave of strange phenomena. In the distance, the people of the Zhu Lang gang wanted to rush over to see what was going on. Liang Rulong's voice sounded, "Stay here obediently. There's nothing for you to do here." When the Zhu Lang gang members heard their leader's voice, they obediently stayed where they were. They were all guessing in their hearts. Could it be that some kind of Xiantian unique treasure has appeared? Yang Wu looked at the 7 round, pearl-like, 3-marked pills in the medicinal cauldron and couldn't help but laugh. I didn't expect to refine so many holy pills. What a surprise. This was far beyond his expectations. He thought that would be good if he could condense 2 or 3 holy pills. After all, the holy pills were different from other pills. The gap between the levels was very large, and it was already not easy to condense a pill, and it was even more difficult to condense multiple pills. Yang Wu recalled that when he was refining pills, he had entered the state of alchemy. Perhaps it was because of this that the rate of pill condensation had been greatly increased. Yang Wu kept the pills and threw one of them to Liang Rulong, saying, "This holy pellet is yours." Liang Rulong quickly caught the holy pellet and held it in his hands as if he had received a treasure, saying, "Young master, be careful, be careful." He carefully looked at the holy pellet, and his eyes couldn't help but turn misty. He said emotionally, "Many thanks to young master. This subordinate will definitely do his best in the future." After so many years, he had finally obtained a holy pellet that could allow him to break through to the saint realm. Even if he had to give his all to Yang Wu, he was willing to do so. Once he broke through to the saint realm, his lifespan would increase by several times, and he would be able to pursue the path of immortality. This was the dream of countless cultivators. All right, don't be a sissy. You've been able to guard this place and have done many things for the Yang clan. This is your reward. Yang Wu waved his hand and paused for a moment before saying, "The Red River Gang has been dealt with, and it's hard to guarantee that they won't send people to cause trouble. I think you should try to break through to the Star Rune Realm first. If you take that step, the Li clan will retreat, and your Zhu Lang Gang's crisis will be resolved. I don't need to worry about this anymore." "Yes, young master, I will go into seclusion to break through. Liang Rulong replied with a firm expression. Just as Liang Rulong was about to leave, Yang Wu called out to him and gave him a reverse body dragon pellet. It could help him refine his physique, and he would have more confidence in breaking through to the Star Rune realm. Liang Rulong was extremely touched. He silently put away the holy pellet and swore that he would definitely break through to the Star Rune realm and not let down the young master's nurturing. Liang Rulong went into seclusion, and Yang Wu couldn't leave for the time being. He had to stay here and stabilize the morale of the Zhu Lang gang. He was afraid that the Li clan would send people to take revenge. During this time, Yang Wu began to cultivate the few minor saint skills his master passed him. The Stellar Sword Art, Styx River Spear Art, and Thousand Transformations Fist were 3 minor saint battle skills that corresponded to sword skills, spear skills, and fist skills. Yang Wu felt that his master was really stingy. He only passed on minor saint battle skills and didn't even pass on a single saint skill. Those geniuses of the major forces all cultivated saint skills and were extremely powerful. Minor saint skills weren't enough. Yang Wu had no choice but to meditate and cultivate bitterly. The stellar swordsmanship and the meteor swordsmanship that he had practiced before were different, and it also resonated with his move Destruction of the Galaxy. He meditated and practiced, and quickly mastered the essence of this swordsmanship and entered the proficient stage. He was sure that this swordsmanship had a great relationship with the move Destruction of the Galaxy, but he could not figure out the reason at the moment. In the end, he came to the conclusion that they might have been created by the same person. The Galaxy Destroyer was definitely a true saint skill. The Styx River Spear Art was a profound water chi battle skill. The Styx River Spear could cut through thousands of souls in the underworld. It was quite powerful. Yang Wu didn't find it difficult to cultivate. After reaching the Dragon Transformation Realm, the Divine Court Dao Flower grew stronger and stronger. His comprehension became extraordinary. His cultivation speed was many times faster than before. The Thousand Transformations Fist wasn't bad either. When he punched out, there were thousands of changes. It was unpredictable and could easily kill the enemy. This fist was about punching speed. The faster the punch, the faster the changes, and the stronger the attack. Yang Wu cultivated bitterly while meditating. He completely mastered these 3 battle skills. 7 days passed in a flash. Liang Rulong still hadn't come out of seclusion. An enemy came to collect the debt. Where is Liang Rulong? How dare you destroy my Li family? Come out and accept your death. A middle-aged man appeared with an aura that could swallow mountains and rivers. There was an old man and a young man with him. The 3 of them appeared in the sky above the Zhu Lang gang. A majestic force slammed down on the Zhu Lang gang. Boom! A formation appeared and covered the sky above the Zhu Lang gang, blocking the middle-aged man's powerful attack. Humph! A mere third-rate formation. How can it block my attack? The middle-aged man coldly snorted and attacked again. A resplendent light tower condensed and slammed into the spirit array. The people of the Zhu Lang gang were scared pale. They were afraid that the formation would be broken and they would be dead. Just as the light tower was about to hit the formation, a sword light that was tens of thousands of feet long came piercing over. It carried a sword aura that could destroy the stars. It was extremely powerful. Bang! The sword light that carried dense sword intent slashed apart the descending light pagoda with a single strike. 2 completely different, profound chi energy splattered in all directions, causing a huge commotion. Liang Rulong is finally willing to come out. Are you that little bastard Yang Wu from the Yang family? The middle-aged man looked in the direction of Yang Wu. At first, he thought that it was Liang Rulong, but unexpectedly, it was a young man. He immediately determined the young man's identity. You are the 3 dogs from the Li family? Yang Wu narrowed his eyes and replied to the middle-aged man. Little bastard, you really have guts. I heard that you killed my brother Li Honghe. Now, I have come to avenge him. The middle-aged man cursed and leaped into the air towards Yang Wu. Before he arrived, a palm force that blotted out the sky and covered the sun was already furiously slapped towards Yang Wu. This was a peak half-step saint who was about to break through to the Star Rune realm. No wonder he was so arrogant. Uncle Tuan, do you think Uncle John can win? The young man from the Leaf family asked the old man. The old man gently stroked his beard and said, his chances of winning aren't small, but he may not win. Uncle Tuan, do you think so highly of that kid? A peerless genius like you has a lot of trump cards. If he is careless, he can kill people above his level. There is nothing special about this. That's true, but Uncle John came prepared. I think that kid will be beaten to death. I hope so. Li Hongjiang was Li Honghe's brother. However, Li Hongjiang was a direct descendant, while Li Honghe was an illegitimate son. Li Hongjiang and Li Honghe didn't have a good relationship, but Li Honghe had given Li Hongjiang a lot of benefits over the years. The relationship between the two brothers was barely passable. The reason why Li Hongjiang killed his way over was that he didn't want his brother's wealth to fall into someone else's pocket. That was why he took the initiative to take care of the Zhu Lang gang. Li Hongjiang's means were much stronger than Li Honghe's. One could only see his palm strike after another. Torrential Xian Qi surged unceasingly. The destructive power was quite strong. An ordinary half-step saint couldn't withstand it. Yang Wu held the Phoenix Profound Sword and kept attacking. He used Li Hongjiang to practice this stellar sword art. One sword strike could destroy the stars, and another sword strike could shake the firmament. This stellar sword art was a minor saint battle skill, but it was also a top-notch minor saint battle skill. The power it could unleash was quite impressive. Yang Wu attacked with his sword one after another. Strands of sword intent spread out in all directions. It was as if countless stars were being picked by him. He and Li Hongjiang were evenly matched. No one could do anything to the other. Li Hongjiang had no choice but to take out his combat weapon. It was a half-step saint sword called Prosperous Rivers Red. When the weapon was in his hand, the power it unleashed became even stronger. Prosperous Rivers Red. Between heaven and earth, there seemed to be sword clouds that appeared and sealed Yang Wu's sword intent. Li Hongjiang's sword intent entangled unceasingly. Yang Wu's fierce attacks were all blocked by him. Before Yang Wu could react, Li Hongjiang's sword pierced toward his heart. Go to hell. Li Hongjiang shouted with a ferocious expression. Asterisk puff. Asterisk. Chapter 858. It wasn't Yang Wu who spat out blood, but Li Hongjiang. When he thought he had stabbed Yang Wu's heart, a terrifying rebounding force was generated and forcefully rebounded his attack, causing him internal injuries. A layer of black tortoise armor appeared on Yang Wu's body. The armor flowed like a Bagua diagram, producing a strong rebounding force. It was this rebounding force that had rebounded Li Hongjiang's power and injured him. When Yang Wu was at the top of the heavenly fish realm, the rebounding force could withstand the power of a half-saint. Now that he had broken through to the dragon transformation realm, his combat strength was many times stronger than before. The rebounding force was even more powerful. After Yang Wu injured Li Hongjiang, his figure rushed out like a dragon. He released a domineering aura that contained the power of Zhenwu boxing and heavily blasted toward Li Hongjiang. Li Hongjiang felt Yang Wu's powerful willpower and actually felt a trace of timidity. However, he was a peak saint after all. His willpower was firm. The sky's suppressing divine pagoda appeared on his body, and the prosperous river red sword stabbed out with all his strength. Li Hongjiang used a saint's skill, and the power that erupted was almost comparable to a saint with a first-level star pattern. The fist radiance and the sword's shadow intertwined, and a series of astonishing chi waves exploded in the sky. Yang Wu left 3 fist prints on Li Hongjiang's body, and Li Hongjiang also slashed several times on Yang Wu's body. Unfortunately, he couldn't break through Yang Wu's defensive power and even rebounded his sword power. The winner was obvious. Li Hongjiang was no match for Yang Wu, but it wouldn't be so easy for them to determine the winner unless they both used their strongest trump cards. I don't believe I can't break your turtle shell. Li Hongjiang was shocked. He raised his strongest fighting spirit and slashed out a sword radiance that contained a shocking sword intent. The prosperous river red sword suppressed the world. The sword transformed into a river and shattered heaven and earth. This sword radiance contained the sword intent that Li Hongjiang had cultivated all his life. He wanted to slash out a future that belonged to him. Even a saint couldn't stop his path. As a direct descendant of the Lee family, even if his talent wasn't the most outstanding, he was once a heaven's pride who could fight across realms. He used all his strength to challenge a first-level star pattern saint. This sword slash made a red river appear in the sky. It was like an upside-down Milky Way and looked so dazzling. Yang Wu felt the pressure and pushed his power to the extreme. His fighting spirit surged as he shouted, "I'll let you have a taste of how strong my physical body is after becoming a saint." At this moment, Yang Wu circulated his spiritual circulatory cycle to the extreme. Boundless physical strength erupted and combined with the power in his dantian, blooming with incomparably dazzling holy light. It was as if he had turned into a glazed giant at this moment. There was an additional Dharma idol of a saint in the world. He stabbed out with the phoenix profound sword, and the starry river in the sky exploded continuously. "Not good," Li Tuan, the old man who came with Li Hongjiang, shouted. An ancient flag appeared in his hand, and he waved it towards Yang Wu. The ancient flag fluttered, and a baleful aura soared. The old man's realm was a little strange. He seemed to be able to trigger the power of the star pattern, but also seemed to be blocked by some power. He couldn't fully utilize the power of the star pattern. It seemed like his strength was between a half-step saint and a saint. It was very strange. It turned out that Li Tuan was once a first-level star pattern saint. However, he suffered a serious injury and his realm fell. He couldn't step into the star pattern realm again. But after all, he had stepped into that realm and witnessed the glory of that realm. So, he was much stronger than a peak half-step saint. The ancient flag was a holy baleful flag. It gathered a lot of baleful aura. As it swayed, waves of baleful aura burst out. Ghostly howls rang out again and again, corroding the soul of the Shun family. It made people shudder. Li Hongjiang and Li Tuan blocked Yang Wu's sword and ten attack at the same time. However, they could barely block it. They couldn't suppress Yang Wu. "I'll attack his soul. You take the opportunity to kill him." Li Tuan transmitted his voice to Li Hongjiang. "Okay, this kid is too ruthless. We can't be careless." Li Hongjiang was so frightened that he broke out in a cold sweat. If Li Tuan hadn't intervened just now, he would have been killed by Yang Wu's attack. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Li Tuan waved the ancient flag vigorously. A large number of baleful aura seemed to appear between heaven and earth. They enveloped Yang Wu one after another. A lot of baleful aura seeped into Yang Wu's Shin family. Even Yang Wu's black tortoise battle armor couldn't stop it. Yang Wu's Shun family's fighting soul was very powerful. Its defensive power was even better. The baleful aura was blocked and couldn't hurt his soul. However, he still pretended to be in pain and screamed, "Ah, Yang Wu, the king of hell is waiting for you. You could die in peace." Li Hongjiang shouted in joy. He raised his sword and slashed at Yang Wu's neck. Just as Li Hongjiang's long sword was about to land on Yang Wu's neck, Yang Wu cleverly dodged the attack. The pair of fleshy wings on his body that were suffused with cold air unexpectedly swept past Li Hongjiang's neck. Puffed. A big head was cut off just like that. "How dare you?" Li Tuan and a young man who came with him shouted in shock. Li Tuan waved the ancient flag and attacked Yang Wu again. The flag fluttered and the baleful aura was astonishing. However, it was still ineffective against Yang Wu. Yang Wu looked at Li Tuan and scolded angrily. "Old man, do you really think you can kill me with a flag? You're too naive." A series of sword shadows stabbed out continuously. Countless sword flowers bloomed in the sky. There was also a deathly aura that enveloped the area and robbed Li Tuan of his life force. Li Tuan felt the changes in the atmosphere around him and Yang Wu's fierce attacks. However, he still wasn't afraid. He was once at the Starline realm. How could he be afraid of a kid at the Dragon Transformation realm? He swallowed a river of energy. Above the starry sky, bits of power spilled out. He had a fierce look on his face as he said, "No matter how strong you are, in front of the holy power, you will only face death." Holy skill, baleful sky, splitting claw. Li Tuan exploded with the power he once had as a saint. His battle aura soared into the sky. The strength of his claw was astonishing. It was as if he could tear the world into several pieces. Even Yang Wu's sword light was shattered by his claw. Many claw marks scratched Yang Wu's black tortoise battle armor, causing cracks to appear on the armor. The power seeped into Yang Wu's body. His skin was torn open, and a baleful aura entered his body. Good job, Uncle Tuan. Get rid of him. The young man from the Li family couldn't help but shout. Yang Wu didn't say anything. He continued to circulate the black tortoise battle armor faster and faster. It blocked Li Tuan's sky splitter claw again and again, and forced the baleful aura out of his body. Yang Wu chose to give up on attacking. In Li Tuan's opinion, Yang Wu had run out of tricks. Even if you kneel down and admit your mistake now, I won't let you go, Li Tuan said proudly. Yang Wu didn't reply. Instead, he continued to adjust the black tortoise battle armor's defense. The 8 trigrams of the black tortoise battle armor circulated faster and faster. It was like a tortoise shell becoming harder and harder. In the beginning, Li Tuan's attacks could still penetrate it. Later on, not only did they not penetrate, but they were also repelled. The black tortoise deflected the attacks. This was the black tortoise battle armor's strongest defensive state. It was also the defensive power that Yang Wu had refined after entering the dragon transformation realm. Li Tuan's expression became more and more serious. He could feel that Yang Wu's defensive power was getting stronger and stronger. He couldn't injure Yang Wu, so he was extremely anxious. A pair of claw weapons appeared in his hands. After a shout, he attacked with all his strength again. The celestial chi that filled the sky was drawn over. Even the invisible power of the stars in the sky was drawn down. The sky splitter claw descended, tearing the world apart. If he couldn't kill Yang Wu with this move, Li Tuan felt that it would be very difficult to deal with Yang Wu. Yang Wu faced this attack and put his palms together. He was like a Buddha walking in the world. The black tortoise battle armor blocked the opponent's terrifying claw force. Most of the claw force was deflected, but there was still a force that tore through his defense, leaving several shocking wounds on his chest. This pain was nothing to Yang Wu. He wasn't even afraid of the holy thunder. Why would he be afraid of the power of this false saint? Yang Wu didn't retreat. Instead, he advanced. His eyes shone with an extremely resolute look. It was as if no matter how strong the opponent in front of him was, he was confident that he could win. He opened his mouth slightly, and a Buddhist voice suddenly shouted, "Bang!" This was a voice that came from the soul. It went directly to the soul of others and intimidated the soul of the divine court. It was as if it was blocking everything from the outside world, isolating all pain and perception. Li Tuan's attack was sluggish, and his eyes became dull. It was as if he had lost his soul and was at the mercy of others. Yang Wu seized this critical opportunity. The mysterious phoenix sword drew a beautiful arc and slashed toward Li Tuan's neck. He was confident that he could take Li Tuan's head with this sword. Just as his long sword was about to touch Li Tuan's neck, a figure appeared beside Li Tuan. 2 fingers stretched out and clamped Yang Wu's mysterious phoenix sword. A voice rang out, "Don't even think about killing someone in front of me for the second time." Yang Wu's pupils dilated. He saw the face of a young man from the Li family. The other party easily took his attack. It was obvious how powerful the other party was. Yang Wu did not hesitate to force out the blue demoness. The surging flame followed the mysterious phoenix sword and burned toward the young man. The heart flame blue demoness had become a sacred flame and could threaten a saint. The young man did not dare to be slow. He pulled Li Tuan back. When he let go of the mysterious phoenix sword, he flicked the sword. A hidden force went along the sword and entered Yang Wu's body. Yang Wu's arm became twisted and blood seeped out. The mysterious phoenix sword almost fell out of his hand. Sacred flame? So what? The young man said faintly. His body was like a ghost. He appeared behind Yang Wu and slapped at Yang Wu's back. Even though Yang Wu's reaction was shocking, he could not dodge this palm. Puffed. Yang Wu's defense was broken. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell down. Just as the young man was about to give chase, the power of the stars suddenly shone not far away. The heaven and earth changed. A sacred voice rang out. Kill the elder who injured my family's young master. A shadow rushed over with the power of the stars. The power of the heaven and earth seemed to be attracted by him. The majestic aura was shocking. Chapter 859. Liang Rulong had become a saint. Every saint who had reached the star mark realm would cause a change in the world. After all, after breaking through the shackles, one would be able to trigger the natal star. The star energy would descend to refine the body and soul, forming a true saint body and soul. Without the star energy to cleanse the body, one wouldn't be considered a true saint. Even though Yang Wu's body had reached the saint realm, it was only because Lan Yaoji had become a saint flame that his body was refined. Moreover, his body was already strong enough to become a saint body without the help of the star energy. It could be said that Yang Wu had taken a different path. Although many people had taken this path, there were only a few who could reach the saint realm. After all, one needed to use the right method and endure hardships in order to become an outstanding person. Along the way, Yang Wu had soaked in all kinds of medicinal liquids. His physical strength had constantly grown stronger. He had also been tempered by heavenly lightning, soaked in dragon marrow liquid, tempered by sage flame, and supported by profound essence energy. That was how he had reached this step. The difficulties he had gone through were indescribable. When Liang Rulong soared into the sky like a dragon, the world was trembling because of him. Even if it was just the power of a first-grade star mark, it was enough to shake the world. The young man who wanted to exterminate the Li family felt Liang Rulong's aura, and his expression became serious. After hesitating for a while, he pulled Li Tuan and left quietly. You think you can come and go as you wish? It's not that easy. Eat my fist first. Liang Rulong roared. His fist transformed into a huge dragon and rushed towards the young man from the Li family. His strength and speed were much more powerful than when he was a half-step saint. Liang Rulong roared and rushed towards the young man from the Li family. Do you really think that becoming a saint is something? The young man from the Li family replied. He formed a seal with his hand, and a battle pagoda appeared. The pagoda became bigger and emitted boundless brilliance as it suppressed the huge dragon. Dragon God, shaking pagoda. Rumble. The profound energy exploded, and even the heavens and earth seemed to be shaking. That power was really not an ordinary kind of scary. When the profound chi dissipated, only the young man from the Li family said, I'll let your Zhu Lang gang exist for a little longer. I'll wipe you all out in the future. The young man from the Li clan and Li Tuan disappeared from this world, their whereabouts unknown. Liang Rulong didn't give chase. If the other party wanted to escape, he wouldn't be able to catch up unless he was a Grade 2 Celestial Rune Realm expert. He swooped down towards Yang Wu's position. Yang Wu had already stood up and asked, Is the young patriarch all right? Yang Wu shook his head and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. I won't die yet. After pausing for a moment, he asked, Was that fellow just now at the Star Rune Realm? Liang Rulong pondered for a moment before saying, It doesn't seem like it. Instead, it seems like he borrowed some external power to increase his combat strength. Yeah, I think so too. I can't feel any saint's might from him. Yang Wu nodded and smiled. Congratulations on breaking through to the astral rune realm and becoming a saint. Liang Rulong got down on one knee and said, This is all thanks to the young clan leader. In the future, Rulong is willing to climb a mountain of blades and dive into a sea of fire for the young clan leader. Yang Wu smiled faintly. You should guard this land well. The Li clan won't let this matter rest. If they dare to come, I'll fight them to the death. Liang Rulong said unyieldingly. I believe you, but where there's life, there's hope. If you can't win, don't force yourself. Staying alive is more important than anything else. Yang Wu had a good impression of Liang Rulong. He felt that Liang Rulong was someone worth nurturing, which was why he refined the prominent sage pill for him. Now that Liang Rulong had broken through to the saint realm, he didn't misjudge him. Now that Liang Rulong had broken through to the saint realm, Yang Wu didn't want to stay any longer. He had to hurry back to the Yang clan. Something might have happened to the Yang clan. The Li clan was ready to make a move, and the Xing clan was eyeing them covetously. With his current strength, he could do some things for the clan. Most importantly, He didn't know if his parents and brother had come to the Yang clan. He didn't want them to be bullied. Liang Rulong wanted to stay by Yang Wu's side, but he couldn't. He could only take out a large amount of herbs and give them to Yang Wu. Yang Wu didn't want to accept them, but seeing Liang Rulong's terrified expression, he still accepted them. His prominent sage pill wasn't only worth this much. If he was happy, he could get away for free. If he wasn't happy, he wouldn't sell it no matter how much others offered. Yang Wu returned to the Yang family city from the giant wave gang much faster. With the help of the spatial door, he easily returned to the Yang family city. It had been half a year since he left the Yang family city. The city hadn't changed. It was still the same, but it seemed much more deserted. Yang Wu was very sensitive to the problem here, and he was even more anxious to rush back to his family. When he came to the outer courtyard, the guards didn't recognize him. When he showed his token, they quickly knelt down. He didn't have time to pay attention to them. He quickly rushed to the spatial door and returned to the clan. Yang Wu's return was a big deal. After the Yang family knew about it, many elders came to welcome him. Yang Wu wasn't familiar with them, so he sent them away and quickly rushed to his grandfather's place. He had been hoping that his grandfather would bring his parents and brother back. Who knew that his grandfather and the proud Sword 5 heroes hadn't returned yet? Yang Wu felt very depressed. Even the servants who came to greet him were ignored by him. After a while, an elder came to inform him to go to the clan to meet the clan leader. Only then did he wake up. Yang Wu collected his feelings and went to meet the clan leader, Yang Jinghai, with the elder. After Yang Wu came to the meeting hall and saw Yang Jinghai again, he found that he was more radiant than before. There was a majestic aura around him, like a king. He knew that Yang Jinghai had broken through to become a saint. Greetings, clan leader. Yang Wu greeted Yang Jinghai. Haha, it's good that you're back. Yang Jinghai smiled happily when he saw Yang Wu. Then he said, "You've only been away for half a year. That's not long. Why are you back so soon?" "I came back after I finished my business," Yang Wu said honestly. "Well, you're back at the right time. You should try to reach the dragon transformation." "No, you've broken through?" "Yes, I was lucky." "Good boy. You're advancing really fast. If this continues, you'll become a saint before you're 100 years old." There's hope for the Yang family. Yang Wu and Yang Jinghai chatted for a while before asking about the recent situation of the Yang family. He knew that the Xing family had attacked again 2 months ago. At the time, Yang Wu's situation was very dangerous. Fortunately, his great-grandmother appeared again and killed a few Xing family saints, stopping the Xing family from exterminating the Xing family. She also caught the traitors of the Lin family in one fell swoop, solving the internal and external problems. It was just that after the Yang family's repeated struggles, their momentum had declined a lot. Some of the original subordinate forces had also chosen to break away from the control of the Yang family, and some had even directly moved away. This was the reason why the Yang family seemed so bleak. Yang Wu couldn't help but ask, "Great-grandmother, is she doing well?" Before Yang Wu left the Yang family, Gongsilon only had 2 months left to live. However, not long ago, she was still able to fight the enemy. This was why he asked, Great-grandmother is doing well. After you leave here, go and see her. She still talks about you from time to time." Yang Jinghai replied with a smile. Yang Wu saw that Yang Jinghai didn't seem to be lying, so he was relieved. No matter how great-grandmother survived, it was fine as long as she was alive. Yang Wu and Yang Jinghai chatted for a while. Yang Jinghai proposed that Yang Wu take Dan Zi as his disciple, so Yang Wu had to agree no matter what. After all, Yang Wu had done a lot of things for the Yang family over the years. It was time to repay him. While talking about this matter, Yang Wu casually gave Yang Jinghai 4 prominent sage pills and told him that Yang Jinghai had accidentally advanced to become a sage alchemist. This shocked Yang Jinghai to the core. After a while, Yang Jinghai held the prominent sage pills in his hand and asked, "You really became a saint alchemist? Do you think I need to lie to you about this?" Yang Wu responded, then briefly explained what happened between the Julang gang and the Red River gang. He especially emphasized that Liang Rulong was a good person. It was because of Yang Wu's words that Liang Rulong became an important general of the Yang family in the future. After Yang Jinghai heard this, he was half happy and half worried. He was happy that Yang Wu had become a saint alchemist. The Yang family finally had a saint alchemist. This meant that in a short period of time, the Yang family could nurture more saints, enriching their foundation and strengthening their strength. He was worried about the Li family's attitude towards the Yang family. The other party actually had ideas about their Yang family. This matter had to be taken seriously and couldn't be ignored. Yang Wu agreed to Yang Jinghai taking Dan Zi as his disciple, so he said goodbye. He was going to see great-grandmother and little ancestor, then return to the mortal world. He was worried about the safety of his grandfather and parents. Before Yang Wu left, Yang Jinghai asked him if he wanted to hold a meeting to announce his identity as a saint alchemist. Yang Wu flatly refused. He was already on the Xing family's wanted list. He didn't want to be watched even more closely. Otherwise, when the other party sent a saint to deal with him, he might not be able to deal with it. Yang Wu left the meeting hall and headed towards the forbidden area. Unexpectedly, he met Dan Zi on the way. Dan Zi was a young lady with outstanding looks. She wasn't tall, but her breasts that were about to burst out of her clothes were very shocking. No matter which man it was, they would be attracted to her and wouldn't be able to take their eyes off her. She walked over gracefully. When she saw Yang Wu, her beautiful eyes were stunned for a moment before revealing a trace of shyness. She lowered her eyebrows, not daring to look at Yang Wu. At first, she didn't have a good impression of Yang Wu. She felt that he was a pervert. However, she quickly realized that he wasn't as she thought. The young miss of the Hung Mountain sect, who chased him to the Yang family, could prove that he was really a gentleman. That young miss of the Hung Mountain sect had a heroic appearance. She didn't feel that she was much more outstanding than that young Mississippi. At most, her breasts were bigger. Could it be that he liked girls with big breasts? Thinking of this, her heart was pounding. Chapter 860. The young girl thought that the young man would stop for her and chat casually, even if it was just a few words of flirting. Just as she was looking forward to it, the young man hurriedly passed by her without even a word of greeting. She was completely depressed. She raised her beautiful eyes and looked at the figure that was already far away. She stomped her feet and scolded. Is the Young clan head that amazing? Within the Yang family, there were countless young geniuses who flocked around her, wanting to become her cultivation companion. However, her standards were too high and she was also obsessed with alchemy, so there were no young men who could catch her eye. Finally, there was a young man who she admired, but he didn't appreciate her at all. Life couldn't be better than this. Yang Wu didn't mean to ignore Dan Zi. It was just that he had promised the clan head to take her as his disciple. As the young girl's master, he had to act like a master. Moreover, he was also thinking about other things, so he didn't greet the young girl. In any case, the future was long. Yang Wu went to the place where his great-grandmother stayed. He easily walked in. The people who were secretly watching him already knew that this young man was the only one in the clan who could enter without any notice. After Yang Wu entered the forbidden area, he found a woman sitting cross-legged on the Nine Lotus ancestral throne. There were strands of intertwining energy shrouding her body. Her hazy appearance looked incomparably sacred. Yang Wu looked at the woman in front of him, his face filled with doubt. She wasn't his senile great-grandmother, but a middle-aged woman who still retained her charm. She looked similar to his great-grandmother, but was many times younger than his great-grandmother. Wu, why are you here so quickly? The middle-aged woman asked happily after seeing Yang Wu. Yang Wu was completely dumbfounded. He asked in his heart, "Who are you, auntie? Are we familiar with each other?" The woman swept down from the Nine Lotus ancestral throne. Her bare feet didn't touch the ground. She floated in front of Yang Wu like a breeze and smiled foolishly. "Ha ha, silly child. You don't recognize your great-grandmother." This woman's appearance was extraordinary. Even though she was already middle-aged, she was still beautiful and charming. Who knew how many men would fall for her? She was actually Yang Wu's grandmother, Gong Silon. Yang Wu felt that even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe that this was the truth. His soul I could not help but open. He wanted to identify what kind of monster this was. The woman allowed Yang Wu to stare at her with his soul. Her face was filled with the color of a spring breeze. She did not feel that this was rude at all. She said, "Wooer, is it because your great-grandmother has become younger and prettier that you can't recognize me?" Yang Wu finally came back to his senses. He retracted his soul, eye, and bowed. "It's my fault for offending great-grandmother." He was certain that the woman in front of him was not a ghost. She was indeed a person. Her appearance was somewhat similar to his great-grandmother, and she was even wearing her old clothes. There was only one possibility. She had regained her youth and regained her youthful appearance. Gong Salon patted Yang Wu's shoulder and said, "Good child, you don't need to be so reserved. Great-grandmother is still alive, and it's all because of you. You are truly your grandmother's lucky star. You are also my Yang clan's lucky star." After Yang Wu heard this, he was confused. He did not understand what Gong Salon meant. Gong Salon pulled Yang Wu's hand and walked inside. A holy flower grew out of nowhere. Yang Wu was pressed to sit on top of it. The holy aura was abundant, and it was very comfortable. Gong Salon returned to the 9 Lotus Divine throne and slowly explained the reason behind it. After Gong Salon cultivated the Yang returning technique, she obtained 3 months of life. Once the 3 months were up, she would immediately die. She would not even have the chance to reincarnate. However, on the day she died, Yang Taihe was at his wit's end. He took out the dewdrop that Yang Wu had given him and fed it to Gong Salon. She actually came back from the dead, and her life force was greatly replenished. It helped her break through the realm that she had been stuck at for many years. She gained a new lease of life and regained her youthful appearance. When the Xing clan thought that she had died, they once again invaded the Yang clan and were utterly defeated by her. A Jade Moon realm connecting heaven expert was considered a sect protecting ancestor. Just one of them was enough to squeeze into a first-rate power. No power dared to casually offend them. If the Xing clan risked everything to exterminate the Yang clan, then the first person they would exterminate would be Gong Salon. If she did not die and the Yang clan was exterminated, then how could the Xing clan guard against the revenge of a heaven-connecting realm expert? At that time, the descendants of the Xing clan would not be able to roam the Jianghu. Yang Wu really did not expect that Gong Salon was able to come back from the dead. It was because of the dewdrop that he left for Yang Taihe. Now that there were 3 more dewdrops on the leaves of the green budtooth, didn't that mean that he had 3 more lives? "Child, now do you believe that I am your great-grandmother?" Gong Salon said with a smile. Yang Wu nodded and said, "Great-grandmother, please do not blame me. I am very happy that you are alive. In the future, the Yang clan will also become better and better." "Yes, ever since you returned to the Yang clan has become better and better. You are the hope of our Yang clan," Gong Salon replied. After pausing for a moment, she asked, "Where did you get the dewdrop? Could it be that your master bestowed it to you?" I guess so." Yang Wu could not say that it was caused by the thing in his body. He could only let his master take the blame for this good thing. "I knew it. Only the heavenly palace can have this kind of divine item that can bring the dead back to life." Gong Salon sighed. Then she asked, "That's right. Why did you come back alone? Where's Qing Feng? Could it be that something happened?" Yang Wu roughly told Gong Salon about what had happened in the heavenly palace ruins, including the fact that he had already met with his master, as well as the fact that he had gone to the Xing clan's territory. As for Qing Feng and white-haired Demonis, they did not come back because the journey was long. Their speed could not be compared to his master's, so he came back before them. Good. You have become an official disciple of the heavenly palace. This is too good." After Gong Salon heard Yang Wu say that he had become a disciple of the heavenly palace, she said with incomparable excitement. It was as if she was happier than coming back from the dead. "That's right. What is your master's name?" she asked again. Yang Wu thought for a bit and said, "His old man is called Haorun. This name was given to him by little Nan Nan. Otherwise, he would not have known his master's name." "It's him," Gong Salon cried out in alarm. "Great-grandmother knows my master?" Yang Wu asked curiously. Gong Salon let out a long sigh and revealed a complicated expression. "How could I not know him? I just don't know if he still remembers me." "My master?" Yang Wu wanted to ask what kind of person his master was, what level he was at, and why he could not help the heavenly palace return to its peak. Without waiting for him to ask, Gong Salon stopped Yang Wu from continuing. She said, "There are some things that you don't need to know. You only need to know that great-grandmother is only a disciple in the heavenly palace in name. When you reach the celestial rune realm, your master will tell you everything." Then she solemnly said, "You must remember to cherish your current status. You must not lose the reputation of the heavenly palace. There are no weaklings in the heavenly palace." Yang Wu could hear that his great-grandmother's words were very serious. He could not help but nod his head in agreement. His great-grandmother was only a disciple in the heavenly palace. From this, it could be seen what level of existence the heavenly palace used to be. Gong Salon did not linger on the matter of the heavenly palace. She planned to bestow the 9 Lotus Divine throne to Yang Wu to cultivate. It could help Yang Wu quickly increase his strength. Even if the 9 Lotus Divine throne became very weak, it could still absorb the energy of heaven and earth. Yang Wu declined Gong Salon's good intentions. He told Gong Salon that he was preparing to return to the mortal world to see how his grandfather and parents were doing. Gong Salon did not stop Yang Wu. She even praised him for being a filial child. However, she hoped that Yang Wu could spend more time on cultivation. The matter of returning to the mortal world to look for his grandfather and parents could be left to others. Yang Wu once again insisted on his idea. He had been away from home for more than 2 years. He wanted to go home and take a look. He did not know how his parents were doing, whether his younger brother had returned from his travels, whether the beautiful military advisor was still alive. Yang Wu left the forbidden area where his great-grandmother lived. He returned to the Sea Dragon Island. The flood dragon in the Sea Dragon Island had already left the water. Only the housekeeper Yang Yun, Chun Xiang, Xia Xiang, Qiu Xiang, and Dong Xiang were cultivating on the island. After Yang Wu returned, the 5 of them came out to welcome him. Yang Yun bowed to Yang Wu. For Xiang cupped their hands and bowed. They welcomed the return of this young master from the bottom of their hearts. At this moment, Yang Wu saw that Yang Yun was a half-step sage. He originally thought that Yang Yun was just a dragon transformation realm small saint. "Uncle Yun, this is your reward." Yang Wu took out a prominent sage pill and tossed it to Yang Yun. If other people saw Yang Wu throwing out a saint pill so easily, they would definitely curse him in their hearts. Did he really think that a saint alchemist was amazing? That's right, a saint alchemist was really amazing. After Yang Yun received the pill, he was stunned for a moment. Then his old eyes shrunk as he asked in astonishment, "Young master, what kind of pill is this?" Yang Wu walked towards the bamboo courtyard and replied without turning his head, "A pill that can allow you to break through to the Star Rune realm." In an instant, Yang Yun's face was covered in tears. He had been waiting for this day for a long time. He did not expect that happiness would come so suddenly. Yang Wu would not favor one and discriminate against the other. He rewarded the 4 Xiang sisters with heavenly pills to help them cross the threshold of the heavenly fish realm. The 4 women were wild with joy. In fact, they had served the current patriarch before. The patriarch did not treat them unfairly. However, their talents were limited. It was not easy for them to improve their cultivation. Now that they followed the young master, it seemed to be much easier. Yang Wu did not deliberately show off. He just wanted to tell them that it was not a loss to follow him. Less than half a day after Yang Wu returned to the bamboo courtyard, Dan Long came to visit with Dan Zi. The youth looked at the two and sighed in his heart. "This is my first time accepting a disciple. I can't be too casual with the gift I prepared." The youth felt that accepting a disciple was a loss. Chapter 861. When a small place accepted a disciple, it was the disciple who presented a gift to the master. Only after the master accepted the gift would the ceremony be complete. In a large place, accepting a disciple was different. It was the master who presented a gift to the disciple for the ceremony to be complete. After Dan Long and Yang Wu sparred in alchemy, he had the idea of having Danzi acknowledge Yang Wu as her master, and also made this request to the patriarch. At that time, Yang Wu and Dan Long were both little saint alchemists, but Yang Wu's alchemy skills were much better than Dan Long's. Dan Long knew that he could not compare with Yang Wu, and his granddaughter's talent in alchemy was extraordinary. He did not want to delay his granddaughter's future, so he threw away his old face and made this request to the patriarch. Danlong brought Danzi over. After seeing Yang Wu, Danlong did not say a word and pulled his granddaughter to kneel in front of Yang Wu, saying, "Young patriarch, please accept Danzi as your disciple. I am willing to listen to young patriarch's orders." Yang Wu did not refuse and let them kneel. He now had the qualifications to receive their bow. This was the confidence of a little saint alchemist. "Elder Danlong, are you really willing to follow by my side?" Yang Wu asked. "Yes, young patriarch, as long as you are willing to accept Danzi as your disciple," Danlong responded. "It is not difficult for me to accept her as my disciple. The difficult part is that I am afraid she can endure hardships," Yang Wu responded. Danzi showed a trace of stubbornness, saying, "No matter how hard or tiring it is, I am not afraid." "Good. After you kneel, you will be my first in-name disciple. Whether or not you can become a true direct disciple would depend on your ability," Yang Wu responded. The young girl was unconvinced, saying, "I am already a king-level alchemist. How can I not have the qualifications to become your direct disciple?" She was very young, only 18 or 19 years old. Becoming a king-level alchemist proved that her talent was extraordinary. In the future, becoming a heavenly alchemist or even a little saint alchemist would not be difficult. This kind of talent would have many alchemists fighting to have her as their disciple. Of course, this was what her grandfather had always told her. Danzi grew up in the Yang family and had never traveled far, but she was well-read and knew the nobility of alchemists. She knew that it was even more difficult to become an outstanding alchemist. At her age, she had reached the rank of medicine king, so she indeed had the qualifications to be proud. Even though Yang Wu was only 1 or 2 years older than her and was already capable of becoming her master, he still couldn't underestimate her. She felt that Yang Wu was absolutely lucky to be able to become a little saint alchemist at such a young age. No matter what the reason was, she was willing to stay by his side. Master and disciple had always been incomparably close, right? How can it be so easy to become my official disciple? You should be able to become a heavenly alchemist before the age of 30. Yang Wu said softly. He thought of Gu Qing from the Hung Mountain sect. That was a true alchemy genius. A year had passed, and that guy must have touched the edge of becoming a little saint alchemist. Yang Wu didn't use his own ability to measure others. He had to thank Little Hay for being able to grow so quickly. Without Little Hay, perhaps he wouldn't have everything he had now. Danzi still wanted to refute Yang Wu, but Danlong said sternly beside her, "Sir, hurry up and perform the ceremony of acknowledging him as your master." Danzi knelt down and kowtowed 3 times to Yang Wu. Then she raised her head and said seriously to Yang Wu, "Master, disciple will definitely become a heavenly alchemist before the age of 30. Just wait and see." Danzi wasn't someone who admitted defeat easily. She didn't want to be looked down on by Yang Wu, and she didn't want to lose face for her grandfather. Danlong also bowed to Yang Wu and said, "In the future, Danlong will be at young clan head's disposal." Yang Wu nodded and accepted their bow. "Okay, as long as you sincerely follow me, I won't mistreat you." After pausing for a moment, a strand of true fire appeared in his hand. He looked at Danzi and said, "This is Master's gift to you. Cherish it well." In the next moment, the strand of blue flame flew towards Danzi. This was a strand of life origin fire seed that he had cut off. It was a strand of holy flame. After seeing this strand of true fire, Danlong's old eyes jumped and he exclaimed, "Holy, holy flame." Danlong had been refining pills for many years and had an extraordinary background. His eyesight was very unique. He really didn't expect Yang Wu to give him a strand of holy flame. This was a fire seed that alchemists dreamed of. Even he only had a minor saint fire seed now. After hearing her grandfather's words, Danzi stared at the strand of holy flame. She didn't dare to accept it immediately. She looked at the calm young master and asked, "Is this really for me?" "Don't worry, just accept it. However, it's my life origin fire seed. You need to refine it into your own fire seed." Yang Wu nodded and said, "Thank you, Master," Dan Zi said sincerely. She quickly formed a seal and began to absorb the strand of fire seed. Since Yang Wu had removed the destructive power of this fire seed, it was easy for her to absorb it. However, it was impossible for her to refine it immediately. She needed to use her life origin energy to nourish it. Only then would it become compatible with her. Dan Long couldn't help but feel lucky that he let Dan Zi be Yang Wu's master. This was definitely the most correct decision. Yang Wu didn't have time to dawdle with him here, so he went straight to the point and said to Dan Long, "I'm going back to the mortal world. Since Dan Zi has already acknowledged me as her master, I'll take her with me and teach her some alchemy techniques. You can continue to stay in the clan and tell the patriarch to prepare some herbs. When I return, I'll refine some pills for the clan. All right, I'll take as many saint herbs as you can find." Holy herbs! Could it be that young master you? Dan Long was stunned for a moment. He seemed to have thought of something, but he found that Yang Wu had already walked out of the bamboo courtyard. He forcefully swallowed his words before he could finish. He really couldn't believe the possibility that he thought of, but he also felt that it was very possible. He couldn't help but praise in his heart. Young master is the descendant of the medicine god. The transcendent realm and the mortal world were two completely different realms. Many people divided them into low-level realms and mid-level realms. It was said that there were also high-level realms. There were a total of 3 realms, and only then was it a complete world. There was a boundary passage between the mortal world and the transcendent realm. It was located below the transcendent realm and was divided by various large forces. It was a place where low-level people were kept in captivity. In the eyes of the people in the transcendent realm, their lives were like grass that could be slaughtered at will. If a low-level person could break through the restrictions or pass through the boundary passage and enter the transcendent realm, then he would have the qualifications to be a human. The people in the transcendent realm always boasted that they were above the rest. They didn't care about anything in the mortal world. Between the 2 realms, there were boundary passages in different places. If one wanted to travel between them, one had to pay a sufficient toll. If one didn't have a toll, then one had to pass through a test. Otherwise, one would be sent back to the mortal world. The Grand Xia Empire was located at the edge of the mortal world under the jurisdiction of Mount Amei. It was adjacent to the barbarian tribe under the jurisdiction of the Sacred Fire sect. 1.5 years ago, the Grand Xia Empire experienced a great change. The emperor of the Grand Xia Empire was assassinated and Princess Tang Xiaoan took over the throne as the first empress. Not only did the Grand Xia Empire not decline, it even showed signs of prosperity. Although Tang Xiaoan was still a young girl, after going through such a huge change, she had become incomparably wise and far-sighted. She was decisive in handling matters, and used a group of loyal officials and a group of young and energetic Imperial Academy students to consolidate her position and increase the strength of the country. However, after she became the empress for half a year, she suddenly announced that she would pass the throne to her 5th brother, the former 5th Prince Tang Chunqing. She then went to the main force of the country, Mount Amei, to learn martial arts. After Tang Chunqing took over the position of empress, the transition was extremely smooth. He took control of the country, and there weren't many accidents. Unfortunately, not long ago, a rebellious daughter brought a group of valiant people back and turned the entire royal city into a mess. Tang Chunqing also became a puppet emperor. The Yang family, which had already become the royal residence, was accused of treason and became a wanted criminal. Just as the Yang family was about to be exterminated, the previous generation of the Yang family, Yang Jingtao, returned and stopped the group of murderers in time. A fierce battle broke out between the 2 parties. Not only was the Yang family not driven out of Royal City, but they also stayed in their own royal residence and defended it to the end. Those who wanted to exterminate the Yang family couldn't break through the Yang family's defensive array in time. They could only wait outside the royal residence and catch a turtle in a jar. Now, in the royal residence of the Grand Xia Empire, Yang Jingtao, Yang Jinan, and the rest were all there. Their faces were filled with anxiety. The people of Mount Amei are really despicable. They actually took Xian air to threaten us. They don't have any demeanor of a main force of the country. Yang Jinan shouted angrily. That girl is the granddaughter-in-law that Wu Er chose. Yang Jingtao frowned and asked, Yes, we have to save her. If we don't save her, I don't know what Wu Er will do. Yang Jinan replied, It seems that we can't just sit here and wait for death. Let me go. If they know what's good for them, they'll let her go. Otherwise, even if I have to risk my life, I'll leave them with some painful memories. Yang Jingtao said decisively. At this moment, a scream came from outside. Yang Jingtao, Yang Jinan, come out and see how we're going to put your daughter-in-law to death by 1,000 cuts. Above the Yang family, dozens of people were flying in the air. Each of them had an imposing manner and amazing combat strength. All of them were kings above the Earth-Sea realm. There were also more than 10 people in the divine fish realm. This group of people could completely wipe out the mortal world. These people were all from Mount Amei. In the crowd, many people were tied up. Among them, the most conspicuous one was a valiant woman. Her eyes revealed an unyielding look. She didn't give in just because she was captured. Beside her was a middle-aged man who was tied up with her. His face was full of unwillingness. They were Wan Lanxin and her father, Wan Tianlong. In addition, there were some people who were tied up. There were old and young people. They were Su Romei's family. Her eldest son, Su Hurin, her second son, Su Mingbo, her eldest daughter-in-law, Kong Qing. These people were all related to the Yang family. Now, they were all implicated. Su Romei looked at her family and cried, How can they be so unreasonable? Chapter 862. There were many unreasonable people in the world, but the people in front of them were not that many. Mount Amei was a major power in the transcendent world. It was also a power that protected more than 100 empires and dynasties in the mortal world. In the eyes of the mortals, they were high and mighty. They would not do immoral things like bully the weak or threaten others. But now, they understood that they were too naive. The people in the transcendent world were also people. The things they did were even more ruthless. This time, the people of Mount Amei were aggressive. They wanted to stand up for others and complete their mission. Among the dozens of people, there was a young man and a young woman. They were the masterminds of this matter. The man was very young, in his early 20s. He wore a green gown and carried a green sword on his back. His hands were crossed in front of his chest. His eyes were filled with arrogance. Beside him, there was a young woman wearing sexy clothes. What should be exposed was exposed, and what should not be exposed was also partially exposed. Beside her, many men secretly glanced at her from time to time. Their evil fire was quietly rising. If Yang Wu was here, he would definitely recognize that the young woman was Tang Jiaoyan, who had once caused him to be imprisoned. The man beside her looked somewhat similar to Song Yuming. He was Song Yoming's second brother, Song Yaoqian. They were the masterminds of this matter. Once, Tang Jiaoyan's father, Prince Fuwen, rebelled and was crushed by Yang Wu. She was forced to leave through a secret passage. Song Jing brought her and Song Yuming to the transcendent world. After several twists and turns, they entered Mount Amei. Her fate was much better than Song Yoming's. She met an ancestor of her Tang family and was able to smoothly take root in Mount Amei's sect. She also became an inner court disciple, and her cultivation progressed rapidly. Song Yuming had no backing. His second brother, Song Yaoqian, was always in closed-door training, so there was no way to pay attention to him. He was also disappointing, so he could only become someone's little husband. In the end, he died in the hands of Yang Wu. Prince Fuwen and Song Xiang joined hands to rebel. They wanted to seize the world of the Xia dynasty. However, they were defeated by Yang Wu and were killed. Tang Jiaoyan and Song Yaoqian came back to take revenge. The present was different from the past. Tang Jiaoyan had entered the Earth-Ocean realm. Even though it was only a low-level Earth-Ocean realm cultivator, she had the protection of a minor saint. Moreover, the Tang clan had an extraordinary status in Mount Amei. This was the reason why she was so arrogant. Song Yaoqian, on the other hand, was an extraordinary talent. Not only had he become an inner disciple of Mount Amei early on, but he had also received the recognition of a top minor saint and was taken in as a personal disciple. Now, His strength had reached the peak of the king realm, and he was only one step away from the heavenly fish realm. Such talent was not inferior to any of the geniuses of the transcendent world. The two of them had brought dozens of people with them, not just for revenge, but more importantly, to deal with Yang Wu, who was wanted by the Xing family at the cost of a divine pill. Since there was no way to find out where Yang Wu was, they would capture his family first. That way, they wouldn't have to worry about Yang Wu committing a crime. This was what the people behind them thought, and it was also what they thought. Let us go. I beg you, let us go. We have nothing to do with the Yang family. Our family has long severed all ties with them. Kong Qing cried and screamed. Qing Qing, can you stop screaming? The honest man, Su Huron, said softly. Why should I stop? It's all your nephew's fault. Don't think that I don't know what's going on. If he had promised Princess Jian back then, we wouldn't have suffered so much. I want to sever all ties with the Yang family and your Su family. Kong Qing was extremely agitated. Su Huron's expression froze for a moment, and then he replied indifferently. Okay, from now on, you're not my wife, and you're not my Su family's daughter-in-law. Who said that honest people weren't domineering? When honest people were domineering, even gods would be afraid of them. Divorcing a wife was definitely not a decent thing to do. Tang Jiaoyan heard their words clearly. She smiled coldly and said, What a pair of Mandarin ducks with the same fate. Then she asked Kong Qing, Are you really willing to sever ties with the Su family? Kong Qing nodded repeatedly and said, Of course, why wouldn't I be willing? It would be best if Princess Jian released my useless son and daughter, and will immediately leave King City and never come back. Smack! Tang Jiaoyan slapped Kong Qing's face so hard that her front teeth flew out. She was in so much pain that she cried bitterly. You're a very tactful woman. I can release you, but your children are surnamed Su, so I can't release them. Tang Jiaoyan sneered. Then, she looked at a young man and a young girl from the Su family and shouted viciously, Kill them. Don't kill me, don't kill me. Su Huron's eldest son was so scared that he wet his pants. He cried and begged for mercy. Pooh! His head was chopped off. No matter who it was, they would be frightened by such a bloody scene. Su Huron's heart was bleeding, and his eyes were filled with hatred. Kong Qing cursed loudly. Tang Jiaoyan was vicious and merciless. She didn't care about how others cursed her. She came back to take revenge. She wanted that young man who had rejected her to regret it for the rest of his life. Kill! Tang Jiaoyan ordered again. You've gone too far. Yang Jingtao and Yang Jinan rushed out of the mansion and shouted angrily. You're finally willing to come out? Tang Jiaoyan looked at Yang Jinan and Yang Jingtao calmly. Let them go. We'll fight fair and square. Whether we live or die depends on our abilities. Yang Jingtao looked at the people from Mount Amei and shouted loudly. Yang Jingtao had reached the top of the heavenly fish realm. He had improved so quickly because he had taken the heavenly fish pill. His purpose was to protect the family. Yang Jinan was also very powerful. Since he had practiced the Xian formula passed down to him by his son, his cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. He had also entered the heavenly fish realm. In addition to them, there were also the 5 heroes of the roaming sword. They had all reached the heavenly fish realm and were the loyal guards of the Yang family. Originally, the 5 of them wanted to force the people from Mount Amei to retreat by revealing their identities. Who knew that Tang Jiaoyan, this crazy woman, didn't care at all? If they dared to break out, she would kill them without mercy. This was also the reason why they couldn't return to the transcendent world to report. They had rushed back to the mortal world from the Yang family half a year ago. Why did they only reach Great Xiao recently? Firstly, it was because the journey was longer. Secondly, they encountered other things on the way back and obtained some small opportunities. This delayed their journey quite a bit. Otherwise, they would have returned long ago to bring the Yang family to the transcendent world. Haha, do you think we're stupid? Now, it's more like you're waiting to be captured. Who's going to fight with you? Tang Jiaoyan laughed. At this moment, Song Yaoqian said to Yang Jingtao and Yang Zhenhai, We'll spare these people if you break an arm each. This is definitely a good deal. Don't believe them. These are all beasts who go back on their words. We don't deserve to die. Old Master Su summoned up his courage and scolded loudly. When he finished scolding, his head fell to the ground instantly. Father, Su Rome cried and fainted on the spot. Since you don't care about morality, we'll fight with you. Even if we die in battle, we'll drag a few of you down with us. Yang Jingtao shouted angrily. Just as Yang Jingtao was about to start fighting, Tang Jiaoyan appeared beside Wan Lanxin. She placed a dagger on Wan Lanxin's face. The dagger was cold and threatening like a snake. It seemed like it could easily bite a hole in Wan Lanxin's cheek. Try it. Your granddaughter-in-law might be gone, Tang Jiaoyan said coldly. Stop. What do you want? Yang Jinan hurriedly shouted. I've already said it very clearly. Break an arm each, Song Yaoqian said coldly from the side. That's right. Your son killed my father and Prime Minister Song. These grudges must be avenged. Before your son comes back, I'll collect some interest from you, Tang Jiaoyan said. She remembered that during the process of escaping, she lived a life worse than pigs and dogs. She hated Yang Wu and the Yang family to the core. She was a princess. In King City, she had always lived a life of luxury. She had never suffered any grievances. However, in order to survive, she cheapened herself. Only then did she have the chance to go to Mount Amei. Those days were engraved in her heart. Commander, please don't do this. After you break an arm, not only will we die, you will also die. You should break out of the encirclement and leave. Marshal will definitely avenge me. What's there to be afraid of in death? Wan Lanxin said with a resolute face. 2 years had passed, and her realm had increased a lot. She had reached the high level of Earthsea realm. Her temperament had reached a new level. In the dynasty, she was the second commander of the Imperial Guard, second only to Yang Jinan. In these 2 years, she had been thinking about Yang Wu. After she finally confirmed her relationship with Yang Wu, that guy disappeared, causing her to be sad. Fortunately, she knew that Yang Wu was a filial person. One day, he would return to King City. She often spent time with Yang Jinan. This future father-in-law treated her very well and also saw her as his future daughter-in-law. She was extremely satisfied. Pooh! Tang Jiaoyan's dagger moved and fiercely slashed Wan Lanxin's face. Blood quickly seeped out of her delicate face, causing Wan Lanxin to scream in pain. Stop! Stop! Yang Jinan and Wan Tianlong cried out in alarm. Do you think I should stop just because you told me to? I hate such a beautiful face, Tang Jiaoyan said, and continued to slash Wan Lanxin's face a few more times. Wan Lanxin's face was completely ruined. Her heart was like dead ashes. She thought in pain, will he still like me if I'm disfigured? Yang Jingtao moved. While everyone's attention was on Wan Lanxin, he activated the power of his bloodline and rushed towards Wan Lanxin's position. He also slapped towards Tang Jiaoyan. He wanted to kill this bitch. Unexpectedly, a figure blocked Yang Jingtao's attack and forced Yang Jingtao to retreat. It was an old man in the minor saint realm. Tang Jiaoyan revealed a cold expression and shouted, Kill them all. This ugly woman will be sent to be a military prostitute. I want Yang Wu to live in pain and guilt for the rest of his life. When the people of Mount Amei were about to kill the hostages in their hands, a thunderous voice rang out. Whoever dares to touch them will die without a burial place. Chapter 863. There were not many boundary passageways from the transcendent realm to the mortal realm. Every boundary passageway was at a designated location. The closest boundary passageway to the Yang family was at the edge of the Yang family, near Mount Amei. It was under the jurisdiction of Mount Amei and was also one of the routes from Mount Amei to the mortal realm. It was not difficult for people from the transcendent realm to go to the mortal realm as long as they paid the toll. The treatment was not high either. If one was a minor saint, they would be exempted from a toll. An ordinary-looking young man rushed to the boundary passageway with a good-looking young girl. The ordinary-looking young man would not attract anyone's attention if he was thrown into a crowd. However, the young girl beside him was an extremely eye-catching existence, no matter where she was thrown. Her chest was relatively large, so it was difficult for others not to notice her. "Master, do we need to be in such a hurry?" the young girl asked with a bit of grievance. It wasn't easy for her to become the disciple of a master and receive a big gift. She even wanted to properly learn the art of alchemy. Who would have thought that what awaited her was a non-stop journey? Along the way, not only did her master change into an ordinary-looking person, but he also did not speak. He did not seem to be in good mood. She did not know if it was because he hated her, but she felt very uncomfortable. "If you don't want to follow, you can go back," the ordinary-looking young man responded indifferently. This time, the young girl almost cried. How could he speak like this? It was too inhumane. The young girl gritted her teeth and continued to follow. For the sake of the big gift, she endured. The ordinary-looking young man's heart was very heavy. He came to the boundary where there were only a few Heavenly Fish Realm martial artists who had lost their spirit guarding it. These Heavenly Fish Realm martial artists were either limited by their talent or had been demoted. Otherwise, who would come to this godforsaken place to guard a passageway? Those who could come up from the mortal realm were lowly people in their eyes. If they did not hand over enough Xian spirit stones, they would not let them pass. And those who were preparing to go to the mortal realm, in their eyes, were a pain in the ass. The mortal realm lacked Xianqi, and there would not be any good opportunities. Even if it was said that there was once a mighty person who died in the mortal realm, it did not mean that the mortal realm could cause any great waves. When the ordinary-looking young man and teenager appeared, the Heavenly Fish Realm warriors guarding the place looked at the young girl and almost drooled. What a beautiful girl! A wretched man praised while drooling. Another old man said lecherously, big breasts and big buttocks, good material for raising babies. They dared to make such a bold assessment of the young girl because they could tell that she was only at the Earthsea realm, while the ordinary young man was completely ignored by them. Seeing that this man and woman were about to pass through the spirit formation channel, they might be able to take advantage of them. For example, touching their hands or patting their buttocks. They were good at taking liberties that were not too excessive. They had guarded the spirit formation passageway for many years and were very good at judging people. This man and woman should be of decent background, but it was not to the extent that they would be afraid of them. As long as they did not go overboard, it would be fine. The young girl had just entered the Jianghu, so how could she tolerate the insults of these ruffians? She pulled out a long sword and pointed it at them, shouting, "You stinky hooligans, do you want to die? Oh, it's a little Pepper. She looks so cute. Come, little sister, Uncle will teach you how to use the sword step by step. Hee, if you want to pass through the spirit formation channel, then be obedient and let Big Brother touch your hands. Then I'll let you pass for free. How about it?" The guy in front of her had been boring for a long time. Finally, a young girl that they could take liberties with came. They really could not help but want to have a little fun and have some fun. The young girl's temperament was easy to take seriously. The sword in her hand lit up with a ball of fire, and she stabbed towards those people. Unfortunately, her strength was not worth mentioning in the hands of those people. Her long sword was taken away by them, and that guy still wanted a yard after taking an inch, reaching out to grab her chest. He even wretchedly said, "Try my dragon claw hand." The young girl couldn't avoid this grab at all. Just as she was about to be humiliated, the ordinary-looking young man grabbed the wretched arm. The ordinary-looking young man gently twisted it, and the arm was twisted into a ball like a fried dough twist. That person's arm was completely crippled, causing him to let out a heart-wrenching scream. The ordinary young man raised his foot and kicked that person away. When he fell to the ground, he did not make any more noise. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. The other people were frightened and quickly retreated, afraid that they would follow in the footsteps of their companions. The ordinary young man looked at them and said, "Slap yourselves 100 times, and I'll spare your lives." Yes, we'll do it right away." The people in front of him had completely lost the spirit of taking liberties with the young girl. They all acted like cowards and slapped their own faces. They did not dare to hold back at all, afraid that the ordinary young man would be dissatisfied. The young girl felt very relieved. She secretly looked at the young man and secretly rejoiced. He's still worried about me. A little impatience will lead to chaos. It's not a loss to be taken advantage of. The real loss is that it's better to fight to the death, the ordinary young man said indifferently and walked into the spirit formation channel. The young girl did not dare to refute and obediently followed. The boundary passage was completely different from a space gate. Although they were both formed by formations, there was a clear difference between the two. The former used the power of formations to open up a passage that spanned across two places. The distance covered was much further than the distance covered by the space gate. Moreover, it was always open, unlike the latter, which needed to be maintained to activate the passage. The former was more like a bridge that spanned across two different worlds, while the latter was a short-distance passage for teleportation. After the ordinary young man led the young girl into the spirit formation channel, he felt that time was passing. There were colorful colors that constantly entered his eyes. Outside these colors, it seemed to be filled with darkness. It was like an endless void, but also like they were passing through an unknown world. They couldn't sense what was going on outside. They only knew that their bodies were constantly moving forward, as if they didn't know when they would reach the end. This feeling made them dizzy and even caused them to feel fear. Time seemed to have passed for a long time, but also seemed to have passed in a few blinks of an eye. The two of them appeared at the entrance of the mortal world. The entrance of the spirit formation was not ordinary. It was heavily guarded and protected by heavenly fish realm warriors. It was a point that more than 100 dynasties guarded together. If people from a mortal world wanted to pass through, they had to take out enough Xian spirit stones as a toll. Otherwise, they had to fight with them before they were qualified to enter the transcendent world. When the ordinary young man and the young girl appeared together, the people guarding here knelt down and saluted, "Greetings, Lord." In their opinion, people who appeared from the transcendent world were all people with extraordinary identities. No matter how strong they were, they could not be offended, lest they bring disaster to their own dynasty. The ordinary young man's eyes twitched. It was his first time walking through this spirit formation channel. He really did not know that there would be such a welcoming party. The young girl was also puzzled. She did not speak and let her master make the decision. "Where is this?" the ordinary young man asked the leader here. The leader was wearing armor and had an extraordinary bearing. He was a warrior who had reached the intermediate heavenly fish realm. In the mortal world, he was definitely a top expert. This is the intersection of three countries. To the east is Qingxiang, to the south is Chuanjia, and to the north is Baidu. This is Spirit Formation Mountain. We are all guardians of a spirit formation. The intermediate heavenly fish realm warrior replied. Qingxiang, Chuanjia, and Baidu were the three strongest countries in the mortal world of Mauname. "Which direction is to Xia?" the ordinary young man asked. The intermediate heavenly fish realm warrior pointed in a direction and said, "Head toward Chuanjia. After passing through three countries, you will reach to Xia." "There's still such a long way." The ordinary young man frowned. Then he cupped his hands and gestured to the young girl beside him. He prepared to head towards the Xia. Without waiting for them to leave, the Heaven Realm warrior asked again, "Are you too Lord for Mauname?" The ordinary young man paused for a moment and nodded. "Yes, what's the matter?" It's nothing. I'm just curious as to why the Lord of Mauname likes to visit the Xia so much recently. The Xia is only a middle-tier country among the 100 countries and is far inferior to our Qingxiang kingdom. If the two lords have free time, please allow me to take you on a tour of our Qingxiang kingdom and let us do our part as hosts," the Heaven Realm martial artist said cautiously. All along, the people from Mauname preferred to go to Qingxiang, Chuanjia, or Baidu. They were close to the spirit formation passageway and had a favorable position. This was also the reason why they had always been strong. In recent years, those who came out of the spirit formation passageway were all heading towards the Xia. They were puzzled. When they saw the young man and woman in front of them, they had the courage to ask. They were also afraid that some amazing person had appeared in Great Xia, or that there was some shocking discovery that attracted these heavens chosen from Mauname to rush over there. The ordinary young man showed a trace of worry and asked, "Recently, there were some seniors and juniors from Mauname heading toward the Xia?" There were some a while ago, about a few dozen people. The Heaven Realm warrior hesitated for a moment and said, "Other than them, were there any people who were not from Mount Amay who came over in the past half a year?" Probably after the previous batch of lords from Mount Amay came, there were a few lords from the transcendent world. They didn't seem to be from Mount Amay. They were all young elites with extraordinary auras, just like you. How many of them were there exactly? What do they look like? Chapter 864. Imperial City of the Xia Kingdom. The people of Mount Amay were holding the hostages, and there were also martial artists of the Dragon Transformation realm holding the line. The people of the Yang family could hardly do anything. Just as Tang Jian was about to give the order to kill all the hostages, a domineering voice rang out, shocking everyone in the Imperial City. Everyone looked in the same direction and saw a beautiful man with long flowing hair appear. If this man wasn't wearing men's clothes and had an Adam's apple, people would definitely think that he was a woman. His body was flowing with yin and yang qi. His long hair and robe fluttered in the wind, making him look like an immortal. He was indeed charming. Everyone in Prince Yang's residence was in an uproar. Military advisor seems to have become very powerful. I always knew that the beautiful military advisor was a person who hid his abilities well. Just as I imagined, he is so beautiful. I realize that I have really fallen in love with the military advisor. If the prince doesn't come back soon, I will definitely fall in love with someone else. The beautiful military advisor Lu Ji was really beautiful. Now that he was flying over, he was even more beautiful. His pale face was filled with killing intent, which made him look even more masculine. He was really a man who could kill both men and women. When Tang Jian saw Lu Ji, she was also mesmerized by Lu Ji's handsome and charming appearance. Who is he? He is so handsome. Lu Ji, this is none of your business. Leave quickly. Yang Jinan couldn't help but scold Lu Ji when he saw him. In 2 years, Lu Ji had changed a lot. Not only did he control the people of the Wuhou clan, but he also studied the art of formations. He also cultivated the divine book of Yin and Yang that Yang Wu passed to him. As he cultivated, he grew 2 more strands of white hair. His appearance didn't change, but he knew very well that he didn't have much time left. The divine book of Yin and Yang rapidly increased his strength, but it also consumed his limited life. This was related to his congenital defect. Originally, Lu Ji had been suppressing the urge to advance so quickly. He was also afraid of death and did not want to die so quickly. His lord had said that she would come back to extend his life. But after so long, his lord had not returned, and such a thing had happened at home. He could no longer hold back and unsealed the power of his cultivation. He had reached the heavenly fish realm from the earth-sea realm in one fell swoop. He only had less than a month left to live, but as long as he could save the people here, he had no regrets. On the day of his death, he could look up to the sky and say, "My lord, I, Lu Ji, am not a woman. I am a peerless warrior." Song Yao Qian held his sword in front. "You are the transvestite. Your whole family are transvestites. To use you. Yu Yeyu's direct disciple was slapped into a pig's head. The only Dragon Transformation Realm cultivator of Mount Amay attacked Lu Ji. A palm imbued with thick, earthy yellow celestial qi flew towards Lu Ji. The Dragon Transformation Realm cultivator's celestial qi was astonishing. They could easily control the celestial qi of heaven and earth. Their combat power was not something a celestial fish realm cultivator could compare to. The power of this palm was enough to destroy a mountain. Would Lu Ji, who looked so weak, be able to withstand it? A sparkling yin-yang disc appeared in Lu Ji's palm. It collided with the opponent's palm. Bang! A dull sound exploded in the sky above Wang City. A strong wind tore through the air, causing many houses to collapse. Lu Ji was still pushed back. Blood spurted from his mouth, but the Dragon Transformation Realm cultivator didn't have it easy either. His body was pushed back 10 feet, and his arm was trembling nonstop. The two were evenly matched. There's still a young talent like you in the mortal world. Are you willing to join Mount Amay? If you're willing, I can recommend a Saint Elder to be your teacher. The dragon transformation realm warrior from Mount Amei looked at Lu Ji seriously. Sage, elder, a high and mighty immortal? Lu Ji asked curiously. Of course. A sage can cover the sky with one hand and destroy the earth with 1 foot. There's nothing they can't do. As long as you nod, you can become a sage's disciple. In the future, you can also become a sage and enjoy the path of immortality. The little saint named He Zixiao said faintly. He Zixiao was the kind of person who had no hope of increasing his realm. Therefore, he could only be a protector for these juniors. If these juniors grew up to be stronger than him, it would be a great blessing. Sound good? If you're willing to let them all go, I think I can consider it. Lu Ji didn't refuse. Instead, he revealed a look of yearning. As soon as he finished speaking, he couldn't help but cough. Blood flowed out his mouth. Elder He, don't believe his nonsense. If you want to cut the grass, you must remove the roots. Song Yaoqian reminded. Don't worry, this kind of seedling is rare. After he joins Mount Amei, what grudges can't he let go of? He Zixiao smiled faintly. Then he walked towards Lu Ji and said, Come, join Mount Amei. With your talent, you can definitely become a sage. Here is a token of Mount Amei. As long as you agree, this token is yours. You can follow me back to the sect. In the future, in this mortal world, you will be the emperor. No one will dare to go against your orders. He Zixiao's words were full of temptation. Normal young people couldn't resist this kind of temptation. Lu Ji smiled and said, Emperor, it sounds very powerful, but you didn't agree to let them go. If you take the token, I'll let them go. He Zixiao said again. All right, that's what you said. Lu Ji replied and reached out to grab the command medallion. However, before he could get the token, He Zixiao's eyes narrowed. Using his finger as a sword, he stabbed towards Lu Ji's heart. Mountain-crushing sword finger. The finger was sharp and the strength was like a mountain. Lu Ji wasn't a fool. On the contrary, he was very smart, smarter than many people. Otherwise, he wouldn't have become the military advisor of the Wuhou gang. The moment He Zixiao made his move, he also made his move. He dodged He Zixiao's fatal attack and slapped his palm towards his opponent's heart. As the fingers and palms intersected, a large piece of flesh was cut off from Lu Ji's body. He Zixiao was once again pushed back. However, he didn't die. He was wearing a defensive armor that could withstand Lu Ji's attack. Refusing a toast only to be punished. You're just a brat nearing the end of your lifespan. Yet you dare to risk your life against me? Try again in your next life. He Zixiao was finally enraged. With a loud roar, a long sword appeared in his hand, and with a dense yellow sword aura, he charged towards Lu Ji. Lu Ji didn't cultivate any offensive battle techniques. He only used the yin and yang energy he cultivated to form an yin-yang formation to block the other's sword light. He was forced to retreat step by step, but there was still a calm light in his eyes. He was waiting for an opportunity to give the other a fatal blow. Lu Ji's yin and yang qi flowed like a formation diagram, wrapping his entire body tightly. When those sword rays pierced over, they were all deflected by him with the force of 4 weights pulling 1,000 caddies. Lu Ji didn't cultivate any battle techniques. This was a defensive technique he discovered from the path of formations. If an expert saw this, they would praise him. This self-created defense was invincible. After attacking for a long time, He Zixiao became more impatient. The power of his attacks increased, wanting to exhaust Lu Ji's energy. On the other side, Yang Jingtao took the opportunity to attack. He wanted to take down Tang Jiaoyan. Only then could he turn the situation around. Yang Jingtao had reached the peak of the heavenly fish realm. With the power of the war blood, he could definitely fight a dragon transformation realm elite. Now that He Zixiao had been lured away, it was the best time for him to attack. Tang Jiaoyan was no fool. She had already pulled Wan Lanxin back. The people of Mount Amei were blocking in front of her. She didn't want to put herself in danger. Everyone stop, or I'll give the order to kill them all, Tang Jian shouted. At the same time, she slashed a few more times on Wan Lanxin's face. She cut Wan Lanxin's face until it was completely ruined. Blood dripped nonstop. Wan Tianlong felt like his heart was being cut by a knife. He scolded, "Bitch, let go of my daughter. You'll be punished by the heavens and die a horrible death." Daughters were the flesh and blood of fathers. As a father, seeing his own daughter being humiliated by others, no matter who it was, would drive him crazy. "Haha, you dare to scold this princess. Do you believe that I won't kill you right now? But don't worry, I'll let you die later than your daughter. See how I put your daughter to death by 1,000 cuts." Tang Jiayin said with a crazy smile. Then she said to the people holding Wan Tianlong, "Cut off one of his arms first. Let the father and daughter feel sorry for each other. That'll be more fun." It had to be said that this woman was really vicious and merciless. She didn't care about morality at all. One of Wan Tianlong's arms was torn off by the person who grabbed him, causing him to scream in pain. Wan Lanxin didn't dare to look at her father. Her heart felt like it had been ruthlessly stabbed by a knife. It was even more painful than the cut on her face. She apologized in her heart. "Father, I'm sorry. A woman like you will definitely go to hell in the future," Yang Jingtao scolded. "Then I'll let them go to hell first," Tang Jiayin said coldly. Once again, she ordered the others to attack the Su family. "Bastard!" Yang Jinan roared and threw out his long spear. The spear's momentum was like a dragon as it charged towards the executioners of Maunamei. Unfortunately, there were quite a number of heavenly fish realm experts from Maunamei. They easily blocked his attack. He could only look on helplessly as the Su family's heads were beheaded at the same time. No one was left alive. That bloody scene really made people feel heartache. "You vicious woman, I won't let you go. Kill!" Yang Jinan completely went berserk. The 5 heroes of the roaming sword didn't stay idle. The other party didn't have many hostages left. Then, they would kill a few more enemies for their lord. Yang Jingtao couldn't care less. He completely launched his revenge. Tang Jiayin looked up to the sky and laughed. I'll kill this father and daughter for you to see. I'll let you know what despair is." Just as Tang Jiayin was about to kill Wan Lanxin, another devilish voice sounded. "You'll be the one in despair, bitch." Chapter 865. The voice was very calm, but it was full of magic. It made everyone on the scene unable to move. It was like an imperial edict that no one could disobey. A figure walked in the air. It was an ordinary-looking young man. He was wearing ordinary clothes. No matter where he stood, he wouldn't attract attention. However, he didn't need to open his Xianqi wings to walk in the air. Only those who had reached the minor saint realm were qualified to do so. However, many minor saint experts still relied heavily on their Xianqi wings. Not many of them would learn to fly like this. Using the Xianqi wings to fly would consume less Xianqi, while not using the Xianqi wings would consume more Xianqi. This ordinary-looking young man in front of them could make people realize that he was definitely a minor saint realm warrior with just this move. What was his background? Tang Jiayin looked at the newcomer and felt an inexplicable panic. She met the pair of eyes that were filled with murderous intent. The aura in her dantian seemed to stop. In fact, it wasn't just her. Even the other people of Maunamei felt the same. This ordinary-looking young man's murderous intent was too strong. "Let them go." The ordinary-looking young man spoke again. His voice had a charm of law. Tang Jiayin and the other person of Maunamei loosened their hands. Wan Lanxin and Wan Tianlong were released. The ordinary-looking young man waved his hand. A gust of wind blew past and pulled Wan Lanxin and Wan Tianlong over. "Elder Zixiao." Tang Jiayin was scared. She hurriedly asked the Dragon Transformation Realm Elder for help. Zixiao hesitated for a moment and quickly retreated. He gave up the idea of killing Lu Ji. In his opinion, a trash like Lu Ji could be killed at any time. He just needed some time. Zixiao retreated to Tang Jiayin's side and said to the ordinary-looking young man, "Who are you? This is our Maunamei's matter. Are you sure you want to interfere?" The ordinary-looking young man ignored Zixiao. He brought Wan Lanxin and Wan Tianlong down to the ground and fed them healing pills. Wan Lanxin didn't want to accept things from strangers. Besides, she didn't want to live anymore. She said to the young man beside her, "Save my father. Don't worry about me." If her face was ruined, What was the point of living? The ordinary-looking young man looked at Wan Lanxin, whose face was covered in blood, and felt as if his heart was being cut by a knife. He didn't say anything and fed Wan Lanxin a healing pill. Then, regardless of whether Wan Lanxin was willing or not, he still forced a pill in her mouth. "Don't touch me," Wan Lanxin shouted in extreme resistance. Even if she died, she didn't want to be touched by a strange man. The ordinary young man said softly, "If I don't touch you, who dares to touch you?" Wan Lanxin listened to the familiar voice and looked at the pair of familiar eyes. Tears flowed down her face like a flood. The tears seeped in her cracked skin, making it very painful. But she didn't realize it. At this moment, she wanted to die. She really wanted to die. He had seen her at her ugliest. What was the point of living? Before she could let her imagination run wild, 2 pills were already in her mouth. A voice sounded in her ears, "Recover well. After I've dealt with these people, your face will be completely healed. Trust me." "Well, if you dare to lie to me, I'll teach you a lesson." Wan Lanxin's heart that wanted to die suddenly came back to life. He was still the same person. He didn't despise her. She didn't want to die, and she didn't want to die in front of him. The people of Mauname and the people of Prince Yang's mansion had already stopped fighting. They looked at this ordinary young man who had appeared out of nowhere and were full of doubts. For Mauname, this ordinary young man was a big variable, but it was not enough to make them feel afraid. There was still someone in the mortal world of Mauname who dared to attack them, which was a provocation to Mauname. For Prince Yang's mansion, their only chance of survival was tied to this ordinary young man. They just did not know whether he was attacking for the Wan family or the Yang family. The ordinary-looking young man glanced at the people of Prince Yang's mansion and murmured, "Everyone is still here." Then he looked at the people of Mauname and asked indifferently, "How do you want to die?" The next moment, he stepped into the air step by step. His target was the people of Mauname. The people of Mauname were on guard. They held their weapons and looked at the ordinary-looking young man. As long as the young man came closer, they would attack with all their strength. He Zixiao frowned and said, "Your Excellency, you should think carefully. This is Mauname's territory. No matter where you come from, you should consider whether you can withstand Mauname's revenge. How about we end today's matter here? Is Mauname that scary? It's not like I haven't killed anyone of Mauname before." The ordinary-looking young man answered calmly. He was already close to the people of Mauname. "Who do you think you are? Stop pretending to be mysterious. I'll kill you." The people of Mauname at the front shouted angrily. They held their weapons and slashed at the ordinary-looking young man. The sword of a beginner heavenly fish warrior with all his strength illuminated the world. The sharp power was threatening. "Be careful." Yang Jingtao, Yang Jinan, and the others couldn't help but exclaim. No matter where this ordinary-looking young man came from, they didn't want anything to happen to him. Moreover, this ordinary-looking young man gave them a sense of intimacy that came from their bloodline. The sword fell from the sky. The ordinary-looking young man raised a finger above his head and blocked it. The sword and the finger were in a stalemate. Everyone could see it clearly. Puff! Before the junior Heavenly Fish realm martial artist could recover from his shock, his head had already disappeared. A sword at 1,000 feet was inferior to an inch-long finger. The ordinary-looking young man continued to move forward as if he had done something insignificant. Kill! The people of Mauname were not stupid. They realized that the young man in front of them was not ordinary. A few of them pulled out their swords at the same time. Streaks of sword energy slashed at the young man. There were thousands of sword flowers, blue snakes, and rainbow-like sword energy. Every sword contained extraordinary power. Even the top heavenly fish warriors didn't dare to take it head-on. Yang Jingtao was ready to attack at any time. Lu Ji also rushed over while coughing up blood. They placed all their hopes on the ordinary-looking young man. They hoped that he could create a miracle. "I have thousands of swords to cut the sun, moon, and stars." In the face of these attacks, the ordinary-looking young man suddenly raised a finger. A blue finger sword power appeared. Thousands of sword chi instantly spread out. The stars in the sky were pierced and shattered in an instant. The power was shocking. Puff! Puff! The few people of Mount Amay who attacked were instantly pierced full of holes. Even if they were wearing defensive armor, they couldn't stop the invincible sword energy. The young man's sword heart was clear. His sword was soaring. Sword will. He has already cultivated true sword will. Song Yaoqian stared at the ordinary-looking young man's sword finger and exclaimed, "Any proud son of heaven would hope to temper themselves and form a concept that belonged to them. Only then would they be able to increase their combat prowess and comprehend their own martial path. However, out of the countless proud sons of heaven, only a small number were able to comprehend a will. Even in the transcendent world, this was the case. Song Yaoqian wanted to comprehend his own realm before he entered the heavenly fish realm. Only then could he have a chance to inherit his master's true teachings. Now, he was still lacking a bit and needed to accumulate some experience. However, when he saw the young man in front of him easily releasing sword will, he was extremely jealous. "How dare you? You really don't take Mount Amay seriously. When I take you down, I'll let you know how to write the word regret." He Zixiao realized that the young man in front of him had extraordinary strength. He didn't dare to be careless and attacked the ordinary-looking young man. With his strength in the dragon transformation realm, he could easily sweep through this world. He didn't believe that the young man in front of him was more powerful than him. Wisps of decisive sword energy shrouded the young man, completely sealing off his escape. He didn't intend to give him a chance to live. Sword will spread out again. This wisp of sword will pierce through all the sword energy and shot towards Zixiao. Zixiao's hand holding the sword was directly cut off by the sword energy. He screamed in pain. One move to cripple a dragon transformation realm cultivator. What kind of terrifying battle power was this? The ordinary-looking young man walked out of the sword energy unscathed. He said faintly, "Is my brother someone you can bully?" The ordinary-looking young man swept to Zixiao's side in one step and raised his hand to slap him. Zixiao wanted to dodge, but his Xianqi wings were locked tightly. He couldn't move at all. After being slapped by the young man, his head was smashed just like that. This shocking scene made everyone unable to believe that what they saw was reality. They wondered if they were seeing things or if they were dreaming. The high and mighty dragon transformation realm small saint's head was smashed off with one slap. Wasn't he an invincible expert in this world? Why couldn't he be slapped? The people of Mount Amay felt a chill run down their spines. Only then did they realize that the young man in front of them was much more terrifying than they had imagined. "Run!" A top heavenly fish realm warrior of Mount Amay reacted quickly. He grabbed Tang Jiaoyan with one hand and Song Yaoqian with the other and sped up to escape. If they didn't escape now, they wouldn't have a chance to live. The other people of Mount Amay also reacted. They all chose a path to escape. They only hoped that the young man wouldn't target them. "You want to escape after bullying my family? You're too naive." The ordinary-looking young man said faintly. He flicked his 10 fingers. Streaks of finger light turned into sharp sword energy and shot towards the people who were running away. Screams rang out one after another. Corpses fell from the sky. No one was lucky enough to escape. The top heavenly fish realm warrior of Mount Amay, who was carrying Tang Jiaoyan and Song Yaoqian, was controlled by an inexplicable force. His body was involuntarily sucked back. Tang Jiaoyan was so scared that she cried on the spot. She asked loudly, "Who are you? Why are you against our Mount Amay? As long as you're willing to let us go, we can pretend that nothing happened here. We're even willing to compensate." Song Yaoqian was calmer than Tang Jiaoyan. He proposed a deal in exchange for their lives. "Who am I? I'm the man you want to marry your entire life, but can't." The ordinary-looking young man said faintly. He slowly tore off the skin on his face. Chapter 866. A young man had turned into a young man. In fact, he was already at the age of a young man. It was just that he had the appearance of a young man. He was still the same person. He hadn't changed. Only his temperament and spirit had changed. It felt very familiar, but also seemed to have become extremely distant. Tang Jiaoyan looked at the young man in front of her. Her body trembled violently. He was indeed the man she wanted to marry but failed to do so. He had returned. "Do you?" Tang Jiaoyan wanted to say something, but she couldn't say anything. She didn't seem to know what to say. "Who are you? What do we have to do for you to let us go?" Song Yaoqian didn't have any impression of the young man in front of him. He asked again. He really didn't want to die. He still had a great future. His master had said that it wouldn't be a problem for him to reach the small saint realm in the future. Whether he could become a saint or not would depend on his luck. He still had a lot of life to enjoy. He definitely didn't want to die young. "Let you go? You think too much," the young man said calmly. He raised his hand and slapped the top-notch Heavenly Fish realm martial artist to death. The young man killed these experts who were invincible in the mortal world with a raise of his hand. This strength was too terrifying and powerful. Yang Jingtao looked at the young man's back and couldn't help but ask, Are you Wu-er?" The young man turned around and smiled. "Grandfather, it's me." When Yang Jinan, Lu Ji, and the others saw Yang Wu, their faces were filled with ecstasy. Lu Ji couldn't help but cry out, "My lord, you are finally back. I was almost beaten to death." Yang Wu smiled and said, "Beautiful military advisor, you are not allowed to die without my orders. If you came back a little later, you would really have to collect my corpse," Lu Ji said with an aggrieved face. He was like a little wife who had been bullied. His appearance was very pitiful. "Don't worry. With me here, even if you are in front of the King of Hell, I will pull you back," Yang Wu said with an incomparably domineering tone. In the next moment, he grabbed Tang Jiayan and Song Yaoqian and rushed towards the dead Su clan members. "Kneel!" Yang Wu grabbed their necks and forced them to kneel on the ground. Bang! Tang Jiayan and Song Yaoqian kowtowed heavily on old Master Su's corpse, leaving 4 pits on the ground from their kneeling. "Repent to the dead," Yang Wu said with heartache. "Yang Wu, please let me go. I'm willing to be your slave." Tang Jiayan cried. "I'm also willing. I don't want to die. I beg of you, please spare me. I'll agree to any condition you have." Song Yaoqian shouted. However, what awaited them was only kowtowing again and again. Their powers were sealed, and their foreheads were smashed into the ground. Their foreheads were also smashed, and the pain made them scream continuously. They were in extreme despair. "This is just repentance for the dead. Go on and repent to the people of my Yang family. Do you really think that you can bully my family after sneaking into Mount Amei? Even if you're the sect leader of Mount Amei, I'll make you regret what you've done today," Yang Wu said, and pressed them down to kowtow and repent to the people of the Yang family. Tang Jiayan and Song Yaoqian couldn't resist at all. Their mouths were stuffed with dirt as they came into close contact with the ground again and again. It was extremely uncomfortable. They felt that even death would be better than this. But who would have the courage to die? The people of the Yang Palace saw how Yang Wu dealt with the 2 people, and they felt extremely relieved. Evil people would be dealt with by evil people. No, it should be said that evil people would be dealt with by strong people. Yang Wu wasn't considered an evil person. Tang Jiayan and Song Yaoqian knelt to the people of the Yang family, and finally to the father and daughter of the Wan family. "You even dare to touch my woman. You must have eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall," Yang Wu said faintly. Then he looked at Wan Lanxin and said, "Xen I'll leave her to you." After he finished speaking, his force seeped into Tang Jiayan's body, breaking all her meridians and crippling her strength. "Yang Wu, you must die a horrible death. You must die a horrible death. My Mount Amei will definitely not let you go," Tang Jiayan screamed. A short dagger appeared in Wan Lanxin's hand. It was the dagger that Tang Jiayan used to injure her just now. She said with a cold expression, "I'll give you a taste of your own medicine." The short dagger in her hand kept slashing. Tang Jiayan's face was covered with shocking scars. She was in so much pain that she screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Wan Lanxin didn't have the slightest bit of pity. When she was disfigured, why would the other party pity her? After Song Yaoqian kowtowed, he still wanted to beg for mercy, but he was trampled to death by Yang Wu. Such a small character would only cause trouble if he kept her alive. Death would be the end of it. After Tang Jiayan was destroyed and crippled, Wan Lanxin didn't kill her. Instead, she had people take her away. In the future, She was destined to live a life worse than death. Marshal, I'll bring my father back first. Wan Lanxin raised her head and looked at Yangwu. Although she couldn't feel the pain on her face, she felt that the scars on her face wouldn't disappear. She had turned into an ugly person. She didn't want to stay here any longer. Yangwu took out an ice mirror and said, Exine, take a look for yourself. Do you think I'm not ugly enough? Wan Lanxin cried out sadly. Take a look first. Your face is already healed. Yangwu said softly. Wan Lanxin hesitated for a moment before looking at the ice mirror. She discovered that her destroyed face had already recovered. There wasn't a single scar left. It was as if everything that happened was just a dream. She held her face and muttered, I'm really all right. Yangwu gently stroked Wan Lanxin's hair and said, It's all right. I've wronged you. Woo-woo. Wan Lanxin threw herself into Yangwu's arms and cried bitterly. Yangwu blamed himself. Wan Lanxin and Wan Tianlong were still alive, but the Su clan was dead. Although he didn't have much feelings for the Su clan, it was still his maternal grandfather's family. This enmity with Maunamei was too big. He didn't think that it was as simple as Tang Jiaoyan coming back to seek revenge. He believed that Maunamei's ultimate goal was still him. Maunamei, one day I will climb to the top of Maunamei and ask you all, am I Yangwu so easy to bully? Yangwu vowed in his heart. A young girl hurriedly rushed over from the distance. She looked at the girl in her master's arms and felt sour. She muttered in her heart, There isn't a single good man. After such a big incident happened in the Great Emperor Dynasty, everyone in the city knew that Maunamei was attacking Prince Yang's residence. The houses near Prince Yang's residence were all empty. Prince Yang's mansion sat alone here. It was not damaged because of the battle. After all, there was a formation left by Blackie here. Moreover, after Lu Ji learned something, he also studied it here for a while and added his own unique insights. That was why Prince Yang's mansion was so impregnable that it was not directly attacked by the people of Maunamei. In fact, if Maunamei's Zixiao really wanted to break the formation wouldn't last long. After all, the power of the Xian Spirit Stone and Demon Nucleus in the formation was limited. Once they were depleted, the formation would be broken. Fortunately, Tang Jiaoyan and her group didn't do that. They probably wanted the Yangwu to watch the people related to them die one by one, and then capture them all to threaten Yangwu. Unfortunately, they didn't expect that Yangwu would suddenly come back. In Prince Yang's residence, Yangwu's family was reunited. There was no joy, only sadness. The people of the Su family were all killed because of them. They blamed themselves incomparably, but it was of no use. Su Romei washed her face with tears. After burying the people of Su family, she looked at Yangwu with heartache. If only I came back earlier. It's my fault. I was delayed for a few months on the way. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. Yang Jingtao took the responsibility. Father, it's useless to say this now. This isn't what we wanted to happen. Yang Jinan comforted. Grandfather, you should return to the transcendent world. Before Maunamei realizes what happened, the barrier passage must still be safe. Leave this place immediately. Yangwu came back to his senses and said decisively. Yang Jingtao thought for a while and said, Let's go together. You can go. I have the dragon battleship to help you leave faster. I want to stay and look for my brother. Yangwu said decisively. Yangwu was not at home. He had not returned from his travels. Everyone in the Yang family was worried. He was a scholar. Even if he was protected by people from the king's domain, he might not be safe. Moreover, he had not returned for a long time. Something might have happened to him. I'll stay and look for him with you. Yang Jinan said. Jinan, follow me to the transcendent world. Wu can stay here. If more people stay, they will only be a burden to him. Yang Jingtao said. Yang Jinan opened his mouth, but in the end, he did not refute. What his father said did make sense. Just like that, Yang Wu arranged his family, the people of one family, and his brothers to leave first. The 5 heroes of Ao Sword, Tang Wan, Zheng Su, Li Xiao, Yu Xian, and Gu Shi knelt in front of Yang Wu and asked for forgiveness. They were all geniuses of various forces. Unfortunately, they were completely useless in front of so many people of Maunamei. They felt extremely guilty. Now is not the time to ask for forgiveness. Moreover, I know that you have done your best. When I return to the transcendent world, I will do my best to help you improve your strength as soon as possible. Your realm is indeed a little weak. Yang Wu said to them seriously. They were only in their 20s. The oldest, Tang One, was only 30 years old. All of them had entered the heavenly fish realm. This realm was not considered weak for their age. However, in front of Yang Wu, they were indeed much weaker. They needed even more opportunities in order to be able to catch up. Yang Wu had become a saint pharmacist. He had the ability to help them reach a higher level as soon as possible. When everyone was sent away, only the beautiful military counselor Liu Ji was left behind. Whether he could survive or not depended on Yang Wu's ability. Lord, please don't let me down. Otherwise, many girls will be sad and cry for me. Chapter 867. The Jiao Dragon battleship was given to Yang Wu by Yang Jinghai. He had used it for a period of time when he was rushing towards the Sky Domain City. Even a peak minor saint might not be able to break through its defense. It was more than enough to escort his family back to the Yang family. Yang Wu gave a large amount of Xian spirit stones and some minor saint items to his grandfather. His grandfather would then distribute them to his parents. As for the kings of Martial Marquis Association, such as Shuiji, Duguang Fo, Zheng Xiaohu, and Peng Yuan, they were temporarily led by Wan Lanxin. Her realm was enough to make them obey her orders. However, Wan Lanxin hadn't seen Yang Wu for a long time. She didn't have the chance to be intimate with him before she had to leave. She didn't feel good about it, especially when he brought a young girl with him. However, she still decided to leave first. She didn't want to be a burden to Yang Wu. Before she left, she gave Yang Wu a hug in front of everyone. It was not only to declare their relationship, but also to show it to the young girl. It was as if she was saying, I am your master's wife. They still left in the end. They all had the token of Mauname in their hands. It was easy for them to pass through the boundary passage. Yang Wu escorted them all the way to the Spirit Formation Channel. Only after seeing them enter the Spirit Formation Channel did he feel relieved. Let's go back to Great Xia and have a look. Yang Wu returned to Great Xia once again. He wasn't reluctant to leave the Yang residence in Great Xia. He wanted to see if the Empress was doing well. He didn't know that the Empress had already left Great Xia. When he arrived at the palace, he suddenly sensed a commotion in a corner of the palace before he had the time to look for her. Assassin! Assassin! Capture him immediately. Don't let him escape. Thief! How dare he break into the palace? How dare he? How dare he be a thief at such a young age? He really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Beat him to death and hang him on the Meridian Gate as a warning to others. He saw several experts from the palace chasing after an assassin. The assassin's strength was not very good, so he was quickly caught by the experts from the palace. In a few moments, the assassin was beaten half to death. However, the assassin was also very good. He did not let out the slightest scream. It was as if he had entered the palace with the determination to die. Could it be a mute thief daring to come to the treasure yard? So blind. An expert from the palace murmured and raised his hand, ready to kill this thief. At this moment, a strong gust of wind swept past, and several of the imperial palace's experts present fainted. They didn't die. They were just knocked unconscious by the force of the wind. Yang Wu quietly appeared beside the thief, with a complicated look in his eyes. He really didn't expect that the thief who appeared here was a youth he knew. This was a dark-skinned young man. He wasn't considered handsome, but he was good-looking. In particular, his unyielding eyes were like the stars in the night sky, shining very brightly. The dark-skinned young man looked at the other young man who suddenly appeared, and a trace of fierceness flashed across his eyes. It was as if he had seen an enemy and couldn't wait to jump up and fight with the other party. Yang Wu didn't wait for the young man to speak. He grabbed him and quickly left the palace, returning to Prince Yang's residence. Liu Ji, Dan Zi, and some other people from the Wuhou Association were left here. When they saw that Yang Wu suddenly brought back a young man, they were puzzled. Liu Ji asked in surprise, "My lord, this can't be your younger brother, Yang Wan, right?" Liu Ji had heard Yang Wu boast about how his younger brother, Yang Wan, was a distinguished and elegant scholar. The young man in front of him didn't look too bad, but he didn't look like a scholar at all. Instead, he looked like he was made of iron. Looking at his pair of calloused hands, and his face was covered in a layer of black charcoal. He didn't look like a scholar at all. Yang Wu glared at Lu Ji and said, "You all can leave. You don't have to keep waiting for me here. I'll look for you after I'm done with my business." The people from the Wuhou Association quickly retreated like the tide. They were all once members of the Death Legion, and they treated Yang Wu's words as if they were gods. Before Lu Ji left, he asked again, "He's your younger brother?" "He's your younger brother," Yang Wu said in a bad mood. "I don't have such an ugly younger brother." After saying that, Lu Ji coughed and slipped out. Danzi didn't leave. It was as if she didn't hear Yang Wu's words. She still stayed in the hall. After glancing at the dark-skinned young man, she no longer paid attention to him. Yang Wu looked at Danzi. He wanted to let her go out with him, but after hesitating, he let her stay for the time being. Yang Wu forced a healing pill into the dark-skinned young man's mouth. The dark-skinned young man wanted to spit it out, but there was a strong force that forced him to swallow it. "Even if you want to scold me, wait until your injuries are healed." Yang Wu seemed to see through the dark-skinned young man's thoughts and couldn't help but persuade him. The dark-skinned young man glared at Yang Wu and scolded, "Give me back my adoptive father's life. Give me back my adoptive father's life." As he scolded and scolded, the dark-skinned young man's eyes couldn't help but tear up. Furthermore, the tears didn't stop flowing. He was so heartbroken that even the young girls in the hall sympathized with him. Yang Wu didn't say anything and just let the dark-skinned young man cry. His mind flashed back to the first time he met a pair of father and son blacksmiths in the grasslands. Both of their surnames were Shui. One was a sinner of the Xia dynasty, while the other was a mixed blood. The sinner surnamed Shui was a top-notch artificer. He didn't think that he had committed any crime, but his family had been wiped out. He endured the humiliation and was forced to live in another country. In the end, he took his 10 king armaments and asked the emperor of the Xia dynasty for his crimes. Each of the king armaments slaughtered kings, and he almost took the emperor's head. The dark-skinned young man in front of him was Shui Gui's adopted son. His surname was Shui, and his name was Xiaofan. He was a mediocre artificer. Yang Wu felt guilty towards Shui Xiaofan. If he hadn't appeared, his adoptive father might not have killed his way back to the dynasty and died here. It was normal for Shui Xiaofan to hate him. Shui Xiaofan was tired from crying. Yang Wu said, "Your adoptive father died a noble death. The weapons he forged not only killed dozens of kings, but also almost took the head of the emperor of the Xia dynasty. He was a legend of the previous generation. But he still died. I don't want him to die a noble death. I just want him to live." Shui Xiaofan said, his heart aching. Shui Xiaofan was originally an orphan. Later on, he had an adoptive father. No matter how strict his adoptive father was, he didn't feel sad. Instead, he liked the feeling of being scolded because he knew that he had family by his side. When his adoptive father left, he had a premonition that his adoptive father might not return for the rest of his life. As expected, he waited bitterly for a long time. His adoptive father didn't return. Thus, he walked through the mountain range filled with spirit demons and wild beasts, and came to this country. In the end, he heard the news of his adoptive father's death. His heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. The dark-skinned youth was chased by spirit demons in a wolf smoke mountain range. He didn't even cry when he almost died to them. But when he heard the news of his adoptive father's death, he couldn't stop crying. His life suddenly became gloomy. When he heard that his adoptive father had left behind 10 battle weapons, seeking injustice sword, condemning saber, blood-tear spear, heartless halberd, splitting axe, poison scorpion spear, tongue-breaker hook, bone-cracking whip, corpse-extracting mace, and dragon-destroying hammer, he swore to take back these 10 battle weapons. Thus, he snuck into the palace and was discovered. If Yang Wu hadn't discovered him, he would definitely have been beaten to death. Yang Wu didn't speak for a long time. He really didn't know what to say. Today, he had seen many of his family members die in front of him. He could understand Shui Xiaofan's feelings. "I want to take back my adoptive father's belongings." Shui Xiaofan raised his head and looked at Yang Wu. This wasn't a begging tone. He knew that Yang Wu definitely had a way to do it. Yang Wu lightly nodded and said, "Okay, I'll take you to get it now." Immediately after, he carried Shui Xiaofan back to the palace. This time, Yang Wu brought Shui Xiaofan directly to the Golden Lawn Hall in the palace. Many palace masters shouted in unison, "Who dares to break into the palace?" Yang Wu flipped his hand, and a prince's token appeared in his hand. Yang Wu requests an audience with His Majesty. When the palace masters saw Yang Wu's token, their eyes flashed with excitement. Their legendary Prince of Wu had returned. 2 years ago, Yang Wu had left behind many legendary deeds in the royal city. Many people regarded him as their idol, including the experts in the royal palace. "Prince, please wait a moment. We will go and inform His Majesty," someone respectfully said. They all knew that something big had happened to the Yang family. Now that the people from Mount Amei had not returned, but this young prince had appeared. The result was probably beyond their expectations. They didn't dare to think too deeply. Mount Amei would always be a taboo in their hearts. Not long after, the new emperor, Tang Chunsheng, appeared in front of Yang Wu wearing a dragon robe. This new emperor was much more mature than before, but there was still a cloud of worry between his eyebrows. When he saw Yang Wu, he said with a complicated expression, "Prince Yang Wu, long time no see." He had once suffered a great loss at the hands of Yang Wu. Even if they had let bygones be bygones, he would still think of the past when he saw him again. Yang Wu looked at Tang Chunsheng and frowned. "Why are you here? Where is Shaoan? How dare you not kneel when you see the emperor and be so rude?" A eunuch beside Tang Chunsheng raised his voice and pointed at Yang Wu. Tang Chunsheng waved his hand at the eunuch and replied, "The empress went to Mount Amei to learn martial arts. I am in charge here." "You're in charge here?" Yang Wu asked back. "Of course. Prince Yang Wu, do you not believe me?" Tang Chunsheng raised his eyebrows. "Then what about Tang Jiayin and the others? My Yang family has been destroyed. Is it your decision?" Yang Wu said aggressively. Tang Chunsheng's expression changed instantly. He just remembered that the people from Mount Amei had gone to the Yang family and caused quite a commotion. Until now, no one had given him an answer. After all, the people from Mount Amei were domineering and no one dared to spy on them. I can't control the people from Mount Amei." Tang Chunsheng lowered his head slightly and didn't dare to look at Yang Wu. He pursed his lips and said in a low voice, "Indeed, you can't control them. Just be a good emperor for the rest of your life." Chapter 868. When Tang Shaoan took over the throne of the Xia kingdom, Yang Wu had thought of taking back Shui Gui's weapons. However, he changed his mind and sealed the weapons in the palace. After all, they were a disgrace to the royal family. The fact that the royal family did not destroy them was already very merciful. Once, Yang Wu thought of going back to look for the dark-skinned young man who was a blacksmith. However, he was tied up with various matters and ended up in the transcendent world by mistake. He did not have the time to visit the dark-skinned young man. Now that the dark-skinned young man had appeared, Yang Wu saved a lot of effort. After meeting with Tang Chunsheng, he brought the dark-skinned young man to the weapon storage yard and took out the 10 combat weapons that had been sealed away. These 10 weapons were called the guilty weapons. Shui Xiaofan hugged them and cried bitterly. His pitiful appearance was pitiful. Yang Wu did not let him cry for too long. He brought him back to the Yang Palace. Emperor Tang Chunsheng looked at the departing Yang Wu and sighed heavily. He is already a person from 2 different worlds. No wonder the emperor, could not enter his eyes. Once upon a time, he also wanted to enter Mount Amei to learn martial arts and become a superior person. Unfortunately, he still could not pass the final selection of Mount Amei and could only become an outer disciple. He did not want to be treated like an inferior person and chose to return to the mortal world to become a superior person. Now that he had become the emperor as he wished, he could not feel the taste of being a superior person. After Yang Wu returned to the Yang Palace, he threw Shui Xiaofan to the people left behind by the Wuhou gang and asked him to reflect on himself. It was also at this time that he saw a beautiful and callous young lady named Aisha. She was even more outstanding than before, with a tall and slender figure and well-developed body. Wearing a clean and neat martial attire, This young lady in martial attire stood out among the people of Wuho Gang. This was the girl that Yongwu had brought back from the slums. He had almost forgotten about her, and his heart was filled with guilt. Aisha also saw Yongwu, but she quickly gave him a cold look and left with the few young boys and girls beside her. Since half a year ago, the Grand Xia Empire had an additional martial marquee gang member, Little Beauty Aisha. There was a reason for her nickname. After she was brought back to the Wuho Gang by Yongwu, she had been interacting with the people of the Wuho Gang. From them, she learned many killing techniques. Her comprehension was excellent, and she learned everything quickly. Her cultivation level was also not slow. Now that she had reached the high-level human general realm, she was already one of the top prodigies in the royal city. One day, Aisha met an official's son and was teased by him again and again. At first, Aisha ignored him. She was from Prince Yang's mansion. As long as she showed her identity, he would be scared to death. However, he was really a rash person. Aisha kept retreating, but he kept pushing. He even beat up the little girl beside Aisha. He successfully drove Aisha mad. The guy's follower was killed by Aisha with his throat slit. The official's son was dragged to the door by Aisha and stabbed 36 holes in his body in front of the official's family. When the official wanted to take revenge, Aisha finally showed her identity and said, "I'm from Prince Yang's mansion. You can try to touch me if you dare." Prince Yang's mansion would never bully others, but they would never be bullied for no reason. The official's family brought the matter to the emperor. In the end, the emperor reported it to the authorities and confiscated the official's property. Since then, there was a name of Little Beauty Aisha in the dynasty. Yongwu asked the Yangs to leave in a hurry. There were many people in Wuho Gang that he didn't have time to deal with. He didn't abandon them, but his Jiao Dragon battleship couldn't take so many people at once. He had to break them up so that he could take them away in the future. Even if they didn't want to leave, he would give them a lot of wealth. Yongwu never mistreated any of his brothers. Aisha, would you like to leave with me? Yongwu asked Aisha softly. He didn't have any feelings for this girl. He was just entrusted by others, so he just had to do his best. I don't want to, Aisha replied decisively. Why? Because I don't want to leave my brothers and sisters. Compared to your own future, are they more important? They are more important. Okay, then I'll take them with me. What do you think? Then I'll go with you. Yongwu was very satisfied with the girl's loyalty. If she only cared about herself and didn't care about the feelings of the people around her, what was the point of having such a person by his side? Yongwu didn't plan to stay in the Yang Palace for long. The people of Mount Amei would probably come back soon. It was best to settle Lu Ji's matter as soon as possible and leave the mortal world. Yongwu brought Lu Ji and Danzi to the Black Rock Ridge. There were barren mountains all around, and there weren't any living creatures. He prepared to start refining pills here. This time, I planned to refine a divine pill. You guys were this little saint armor. Before I condense the pill, you should stay as far away as possible. Don't get killed by the pill tribulation. Yongwu said seriously to Lu Ji and Danzi. Danzi was shocked. She and her grandfather always thought that Yongwu was just a little saint medicine master. Now that Yongwu admitted that he was a saint medicine master, she couldn't accept it. Yongwu didn't explain too much to her and began to refine the pills at a slower pace. Every time a herb flew into the cauldron, he didn't forget to tell Danzi that alchemy starts with identifying the herbs. Although Danzi already recognized many herbs, it didn't mean that she understood them all. She had never seen many of the herbs that Yongwu took out. She didn't know their uses and effects. Yongwu spoke very slowly, but Danzi felt that it was very fast. After Yongwu finished explaining the effects of 100 herbs, she barely remembered 70 or 80 of them. She didn't dare to complain that Yongwu spoke too fast. She only blamed her own memory for not being good enough. Moreover, she realized that her master's refining ability was really strong, much stronger than her grandfather's. When Yongwu was refining the holy medicine, Danzi's heart trembled. Those were holy medicines, and each one was priceless. If they were accidentally destroyed, the losses would be great. Her master, on the other hand, didn't seem to take it seriously. He casually threw it into the cauldron and easily refined it. His face didn't change at all. She realized that her master was really handsome. None of the youths she had seen could compare to him. In fact, she didn't know that when Yang Wu was refining the yin-yang saint grass, Yang Wu was even more careful than before. His forehead was even sweating. He was afraid that if he destroyed the yin-yang saint grass, Lu Ji's life would be over. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. There weren't any big accidents. Next, he refined the demon cores step by step. He added the yin-yang bone marrow and other medicinal catalysts to make the yin-yang saint pill as perfect as possible. Yang Wu already had experience in alchemy twice, so he was even more proficient in refining pills. Even if he explained his alchemy experience to Danzi while refining pills, he wouldn't make any mistakes. After all, explaining didn't take up too much of his energy. He just had to review the names and effects of the herbs. It was just a process of talking to himself. After the first demon core was refined, another demon core was thrown in. The yin-yang saint pill needed 2 demon cores, 1 yin and 1 yang, to complete the pill. Before the pill was refined, there were already 2 types of energy, 1 yin and 1 yang, in the cauldron. There was the essence of the herbs and the energy of the demon core, which took up half of the cauldron. There was also the essence of the herbs and the energy of the demon core, which took up the other half of the cauldron. Yin and yang qi appeared above Yang Wu's head. It was like a yin and yang millstone. There was a bright moon and a sun intersecting. The thin xian qi of heaven and earth kept surging and flowing into the cauldron. He shouted, "It's not enough. Sun and moon, please give me their power." He quickly circulated the revered 9 Mysteries mantra. The terrifying suction force was absorbed by the revered 9 Mysteries mantra. It was all absorbed into the cauldron to increase the medicinal properties of the pill. Not far away, Danzi's eyes were opened. She murmured, "The divine pill hasn't been refined, but the phenomenon has already happened. This is definitely a high-level divine pill." Even though she was only a king of medicine, she knew a lot of common knowledge about alchemy. The xian qi of heaven and earth is not enough. Dissolve it all. Yang Wu's face turned serious. He summoned a large amount of xian spirit stones. He spat out a mouthful of xian qi, which instantly dispersed the xian spirit stones. The xian qi dissolved here and was all absorbed into the cauldron. There were at least 100,000 xian spirit stones just now. Each of them was a mid-grade xian spirit stone. Even a minor, say, would need a long time to absorb and refine the xian qi from them. Moreover, there would be an obvious improvement. However, these xian spirit stones were just an appetizer. Yang Wu continued to summon more xian spirit stones. Again and again, he turned them into xian qi and absorbed them into the cauldron to increase the effect of the pill condensation. At this moment, he was more anxious than anyone else. When he was refining the divine pill, he neglected the fact that there was insufficient xian qi of heaven and earth. If he couldn't absorb more xian qi of heaven and earth, this cauldron of pills would only be a half-finished product. He definitely didn't want that to happen. He refined 1,000,000 mid-grade xian spirit stones and summoned many high-grade xian spirit stones to refine. He had to make up for the medicinal properties of the divine pill. After a lot of hard work and refining most of the xian spirit stones on him, he finally managed to gather the energy needed for the pill and could form a core. Usually, when he reached this step, it would be a matter of course. However, this time, there was an accident. The yin and yang qi couldn't combine into one and couldn't form the core. At this moment, Yang Wu's face turned extremely pale. He muttered, "Am I really going to fail this time?" He wasn't heartbroken about the ingredients for the pill, but that if he failed, Lu Ji would die because of it. Yang Wu kept forming seals to forcefully condense the 2 forces. However, he couldn't do it. Sweat dripped down his cheeks and back. His mind was shaken. For the first time, his confidence in alchemy was shaken. If you can't refine it, then forget it. Lu Ji couldn't bear to see Yang Wu's anxious look and couldn't help but sigh softly. Suddenly, Yang Wu reached out and grabbed him to the side of the cauldron. Yang Wu shouted, "With you as the guide, form the divine pill." Rumble, rumble. Chapter 869. Lu Ji had a congenital defect, but he still had a congenital yin-yang body. This kind of body was the same as a congenital treasure. He was born to be favored by the heavens, and his cultivation path was unparalleled. For example, Ziyu, the young Hall King, Kuan Xian, and the others all had a congenital constitution, which was why they could reach such a high level at such a young age. Lu Ji had a congenital defect, and he cultivated the flawless yin-yang immortal code. The combination of the two was actually still defective, so he overdrew his vitality to reach a level where he could contend with a dragon transformation realm cultivator. In reality, he was only a high-level heavenly fish realm cultivator. A year and a half ago, he was still a weak scholar. Now that he had reached the high-level heavenly fish realm, he was like an arrow soaring into the sky. His improvement was too fast. The price he paid was 2 strands of white hair growing from his temples, which added a bit of seductive aura. Yang Wu cut open Lu Ji's wrist and dripped his blood into the cauldron. The two completely different powers of yin and yang finally showed signs of merging. The sun and moon in the sky also began to alternate. When they overlapped, the world was dark, as if a celestial dog was eating the sun. The scene was shocking. Everyone in the world was shocked. They all thought this was just an ordinary celestial dog eating the sun. Who knew that this was the prelude to the formation of the yin-yang saint pill? Lu Ji was scared out of his wits after being cut by Yang Wu. He patted his chest and said, My lord, you want to refine me into a human pill? Yang Wu didn't have time to pay attention to Lu Ji. He tossed him aside again and focused on condensing the pill. With the addition of Lu Ji's blood, everything went much smoother. After he closed the cauldron lid, heavenly lightning came crashing down. Lu Ji and Danzi were both scared out of their wits. The dragon-like heavenly lightning was filled with destructive power, and the number was so terrifying that it was like the end of the world. Lu Ji and Danzi ran, not daring to stay any longer. My lord, you've caused such a huge commotion. Will you be struck by lightning? If that's the case, I'd rather die than let anything happen to you, Lu Ji said with tears in his eyes. When he was very young, Lu Ji knew that he was going to die young. He was a weak scholar who was sent to the army to be exiled. He accepted his fate. It was only after he met Yang Wu that things slowly turned for the better. His days were full and satisfied, and he could also cultivate. Like those kings, he could spread out a pair of profound chi wings and fly around. These 2 years were the happiest time of his life. Although he didn't live long enough, he was still very satisfied. If his lord was struck to death by lightning while refining pills for him, he definitely wouldn't live anymore. Yang Wu did not expect that he would attract such a terrifying pill tribulation. It was comparable to the power of a middle-tier sage. How was he supposed to deal with it? Yang Wu could only grit his teeth and use the 9 lightning body tempering technique. He also took out the demon taming token to protect his vitals, so as to avoid being killed by the heavenly lightning. The demon taming token was worthy of being one of the 99 heavenly tokens of the heavenly palace. It created a safe zone for him. Even if the power of the heavenly lightning seeped in, it was still much safer for him. His body had become a sage, but that didn't mean he could ignore the power of heavenly lightning. He really couldn't deal with the power of the heavenly lightning before him. He didn't dare to force himself. If he really was struck to death, it wouldn't be worth it. There were a total of 49 crimson flame lightning bolts. There were a total of 36 golden snake lightning bolts. 2 waves of mutated heavenly lightning. Each of the heavenly lightning bolts was comparable to a sage's attack, especially the last wave of golden snake lightning. Even a high-tier sage would have a hard time dealing with it. A deep crater was blasted into the world, and Yang Wu was blasted into the crater. The demon taming token in his hand had long since slipped out of his grasp. Just as the golden snake thunder was about to end, he was unable to withstand the power of the explosion. His saint-level body was blasted open, and his bones were exposed. Fortunately, the heavenly thunderbone was tough enough to not be broken. It could be considered a blessing in disguise. At the critical moment, The divine weapon electric fork in his bones unleashed its power and devoured all the power of the heavenly lightning. This was something that Yang Wu didn't expect. This wave of pill tribulation was like half a step into the gates of hell for Yang Wu. It was extremely thrilling. He couldn't help but be thankful that only 2 waves of heavenly lightning had descended. If there was a third wave, he didn't know if the divine weapon electric fork would be able to unleash its power again. One was bound to have good fortune after surviving a great disaster. These 2 waves of mutated heavenly lightning bolts had once again strengthened the power of his heavenly lightning bone. His regenerated flesh had also become much tougher. Lu Ji and Dan Zi waited for the heavenly lightning to completely disappear for a while before rushing towards the deep pit. "My lord, please don't let anything happen to you. Please don't let anything happen to you." Lu Ji nagged like a woman. Dan Zi didn't find it annoying. Instead, she felt that this man who looked like a woman still had some conscience. When they saw that Yang Wu wasn't dead, they were completely relieved. When they saw that Yang Wu was quickly recovering, they were shocked. This method of reviving the dead was really eye-opening. After Yang Wu recovered from his injuries, he opened the lid of the medicine cauldron. 2 sparkling and round second tribulation pills appeared in front of him. These 2 pills had a clear black and white color. The yin and yang aura was rich, as if the sun and moon were alternating. They were suffused with a thick medicinal fragrance that spread for dozens of miles. As expected, it's difficult to make many pills, but it's enough to save a life, Yang Wu said with a smile. He quickly put away these 2 pills and the medicine cauldron. Then, he brought Lu Ji and Dan Zi back to the Yang Palace. This time, Yang Wu took out a large amount of worldly wealth and let AI Sha distribute it to the people of Wuhou Gang. He let the people of Wuhou Gang move away from Royal City. They could go to the Wolf Smoke Mountain Range to undergo life and death training to increase their strength. They could wait for his next call, or they could break up and return to their hometown to live the rest of their lives. This was to prevent the people of Mauname from coming back for revenge. This place belonged to the worldly territory of Mauname. No matter where they escaped to, as long as the people of Mauname investigated seriously, they could find them. But if they broke up, the people of Mauname might not waste their time on them. After all, to those high and mighty immortals, these people of Wuhou Gang were just insignificant ants. They were nothing. Wuhou Gang had a total of 3,000 people. The most loyal 10 people had already been sent to the Transcendental Realm. The rest were mostly warriors who had followed Yang Wu back from the border. After they returned to Royal City, they were used to living a peaceful life. Some of them were recruited later, so most of them chose to leave Wuhou Gang and return to their hometown, where they could find a place where no one knew and find a woman to live a peaceful life. Some of them chose to stay loyal to Wuhou Gang. They insisted on waiting for their leader to summon them again to bring them to the Transcendental Realm. In the end, Wuhou Gang left 2,000 people, leaving behind 1,000. Yang Wu did not feel regretful at all. After all, everyone had their own ambitions. Moreover, he was not kind enough as the leader. He felt guilty for not being able to bring them to the Transcendental Realm in one go. Other than giving them some worldly wealth, he also gave them some trinkets. They were all king-level items. They were left behind after he went to the Transcendental Realm and killed his enemies. 2,000 people was not a small number. It was not easy for each of them to get one. Fortunately, Yang Wu's family background was not bad. Moreover, those king-level items were not very useful to him. After Yang Wu dismissed the 2,000 people, he led the remaining 1,000 people and left Royal City alone. This time, he used a method to conceal the senses of this world. Even if the heavenly fish realm was here, they would not be able to see him leaving Royal City with 1,000 people. The reason he did this was to wipe away the traces, so that the people of Mauname would not find any clues when they wanted to seek revenge. On the way, Yang Wu began to teach the remaining 1,000 people about the breathing method, helping them to reach a higher level in their cultivation. Yang Wu was not a saint. His preaching could not cause any commotion. However, he had climbed from the bottom to his current realm. He understood the difficulties of warriors at the bottom. He explained to the people present one by one. In the process, there were people who broke through their realms one after another. I think I broke through to the intermediate general realm. Boo-hoo! I thought I would never be able to reach this level in my lifetime. It would be a disgrace to the reputation of the Wuho faction. Haha, I've reached the advanced general realm. Your Highness preaching has really enlightened me. I see. My cultivation method was wrong before. I know how to stab with my sword. Combat skills start from the shallow to the deep, from the simple to the complicated. In the end, it is from the complicated to the simple to achieve perfection. I understand now. Thank you, Your Highness. Thousands of people benefited from Yang Wu's preaching. They were not talented, had an average foundation, and did not have a famous teacher to guide them. Now that they had received Yang Wu's teachings, they were all enlightened and gained something. In their hearts, they worshipped Yang Wu to the point of prostrating themselves before him. They did not need much. As long as they could improve a little, they would be extremely satisfied. If they were still on the battlefield, this little bit of improvement would be enough to change their fates. Danzi could not understand why Yang Wu was so wishy-washy. The people in front of her were too weak. What was the point of keeping them around as burdens? If he had dismissed them long ago, they would not have dared to say a word. In the transcendent realm, with her master's identity as a saint pharmacist, with a wave of her hand, countless talented martial artists would come to follow her. Heavenly Fish Realm and Dragon Transformation Realm martial artists could be chosen as they pleased. Perhaps even saints would have to bow down to them. The people in front of her were only at the advanced general realm. Even if there were 100,000 of them, they would not be able to match a Dragon Transformation Realm martial artist. Yang Wu's thoughts were naturally not something Danzi could guess. He had brought this group of people back from the border. At that time, there were a total of 1,500 people. Now, there were only 1,000 left. Moreover, some of these 1,000 people were added in from the royal city. Regardless of whether they were the original soldiers he had brought with him, as long as they joined the Wuho faction and chose to continue following in his footsteps, he would not let any of them down. This was his insistence. Men prioritized righteousness. This was definitely not wrong. Lu Ji looked at the young man in the lead. He stroked the dragon horse he was sitting on and said softly, buddy, back then, you were the Lord's mount. Unfortunately, you did not have the fortune and could only follow by my side. However, you did not lose out. After all, I, Lu Ji, am still following the Lord. In the future, the Lord will not abandon you. Of course, I will also not abandon you, unless I die. Chapter 870. Wolf Smoke Mountain Range. This was a huge mountain range that spanned across the two countries. Ancient trees towered into the sky, and the leaves rustled in the wind. From time to time, it was accompanied by the roars of wild beasts and spirit demons. It gave off a sense of wilderness. This mountain range was mainly occupied by the wolf demons. The other spirit demons were their subjects and lived under them. The Great Xia army was guarding the border, and there were a total of 300,000 soldiers. Even though the two countries had signed an agreement not to invade each other for 10 years, it did not stop the army from continuing to train and prepare for defense. Thinking back to 2 years ago, there was a young man who charged through the border alone. He went deep into the enemy's camp and forced the barbarian tribe leader to negotiate for peace. How glorious was that? The young man was not around, but the glory was still the same. Yang Wu brought 1,000 people from the Wuho gang over. They did not head towards the territory of the Great Xia army, but chose to set up camp at a place far away from the army and the mountain prison. They chose a mountain and prepared to occupy it as their king. In the future, all of you will use this place as your base of operations. Search for herbs and ores for a living. Use wild beasts or spirit demons as your whetstones to steadily increase your strength. Keep a low profile and do not take the initiative to provoke others. If others take the initiative to provoke you, there is no need to give them any face. I will teach you king's arts and king's techniques. In the future, I will bring you to the transcendent realm. With your strength, you can't even compare to a normal person. Yang Wu had seen the surrounding terrain. The heaven and earth profound chi gathered on this mountain was the best. It was suitable for them to live and cultivate here. Yang Wu had made an agreement with them for 3 years. In 3 years, he would bring them all to the transcendent world. So in these 3 years, they had to endure. If anyone could not endure it, they could leave. He would not force them. If they persevered until they reached the transcendent world, there would be better opportunities waiting for them. It was not that Yang Wu was making empty promises, but that he really had the ability to make their lives better. However, for the time being, he had no time to spare. Furthermore, for the time being, he did not understand more about the spirit formation passages between the two worlds. When he became stronger and had more helpers by his side, it would not be difficult to bring them to the transcendent world. Furthermore, with his identity as a saint pharmacist, how could he treat them unfairly? After Yang Wu finished speaking, he allowed them to take root here, while he brought Lu Ji to another place, allowing Lu Ji to consume the yin and yang holy dan to make up for his innate defects. When Yang Wu passed the yin-yang holy dan to Lu Ji, he was so excited that he couldn't speak. Beautiful military advisor, take it and you will have no worries in the future, Yang Wu said seriously. In his heart, Lu Ji and the skinny monkey held the same position. They were brothers now and in the future. No matter how strong he became, this would not change. Lu Ji's eyes were moist. He resisted the urge to cry as he looked at Yang Wu and said, "My lord, I have fallen in love with you." Yang Wu's hair stood on end. He quickly retreated and said, "No matter how beautiful you are, I am not interested in men." He then said, "Hurry up and refine the pill. I will protect you." Lu Ji smiled through his tears. His appearance was so charming that even the #1 beauty of the empire paled in comparison to him. How could the title of the beautiful military advisor be undeserved? Yang Wu was not far away. He felt relieved and muttered, "After this guy recovers, I will go and find Yang Wen. I don't know where that brat ran off to." Yang Wu sat down cross-legged and began to calculate Yang Wen's location. When he returned to the Great Xia, he found Yang Wen and brainwashed a king of sacrifice to protect Yang Wen under the name of Yang Zhong. Yang Wu was not a divine mathematician and did not have any innate senses. However, after his physical body was sanctified, his physical body had undergone tremendous changes. His bloodline had also been strengthened. His blood could be called sacred blood. Using sacred blood to find the location of his loved ones was not difficult for a saint. Yang Wu had obtained the will inheritance of his ancestor in the God of War pagoda. He also listened to his master's teachings in the heavenly palace. He understood a few things about the Star Rune realm. Therefore, he took out a drop of essence blood and took out the scroll that Yang Wen used to read often. He had taken it with him when he left Prince Yang's residence. It was just right that he needed it now. Yang Wu infused the essence blood with his battle soul's mental strength and will. He then dripped it onto the scroll, hoping that it would be able to guide Yang Wu's location. When the essence blood landed on the scroll, it did not cause any ripples at first. However, after a while, the pages of the scroll kept flipping and then flew up. It was as if it had turned into a book bird and flew towards the sky. Yang Wu raised his head to take a look, and a look of astonishment flashed in his eyes. He couldn't understand how this scroll could cause such a big commotion. When the scroll disappeared in midair, Yang Wu was dumbfounded. What was going on? Yang Wu was stunned as he muttered to himself. The scroll seemed to be supported by a force. It actually flew up into the sky and broke through the clouds. It passed through the void and directly arrived in another world. It landed in the hands of a young man who was reading in a strange realm. There were millions of books in this strange realm. Other than various books, there were many miscellaneous notes, ghost stories, and even the heavenly scroll. It was all-encompassing and contained the truth of the great Tao. This young man had delicate features and was dressed in simple clothes. He leaned against the window and held a scroll in his hand. The smell of books filled the air. He was a true scholar. The scroll dripping with essence blood appeared in his hand. At first, he was stunned. Then, a warm smile appeared on his face. The thousands of pages flipped together as if they were smiling together. It was a strange scene. The young man bit his finger, and a drop of essence blood fell onto the scroll. It overlapped with the original drop of essence blood. In an instant, the Saint Chi boiled, and a mirror appeared in the air. The faces of the two young men were reflected in each other's eyes. "Brother, is that you?" "Brother, it's me. Where are you?" "I'm studying at Wenchang Academy. I won't be able to return for a while. I've troubled you and father." "Where is Wenchang Academy?" "I'll bring you back. It's no longer in the mortal world. I don't know where it is. After I finish half of the books here, I can leave on my own. Tell father and mother not to worry. I've always been fine. You always make people worry. You don't even know where you've gone. I brought father and mother to the transcendent realm. They're very worried about you. Brother, I was wrong. I shouldn't have been so willful. But I've gained a lot from coming here. After a few more years of studying, I'll definitely be able to come out. When that time comes, I'll look for you and father and mother. Take good care of them for me. When I return, I'll be filial to them. You bookworm, tell me where you are. I'll take you away. Who dares to stop me?" The two brothers, Yang Wu and Yang Wen, were talking to each other across space. Even an ordinary saint would not be able to do that. Only a special secret method could connect the two worlds. Yang Wu didn't have a secret technique, which meant that Yang Wen had such a secret technique. He had read a lot of books, and the essence of the books were countless. He could fuse with any book, and naturally, he could transmit his thoughts through the books. Yang Wu couldn't chat with Yang Wen for too long. After a quarter of an hour, the conversation between the two was cut off. Yang Wen was not dead. He was in Wenchang Academy. Yang Wen did not know where he was. He only knew that he was no longer in the mortal world. As for whether he was in the transcendent realm, he did not know. In short, he had to finish half of the books in the academy before he could leave. He had a photographic memory, and his reading speed was extremely fast. He still felt that he would need at least a few years, or even a decade, to finish half of the books. However, in order to not worry his brother and father and mother, he could only give a conservative number. "Even if I read until I go blind, I will finish half of the books in a few years." The youth in Wenchang Academy felt a trace of homesickness, and it was growing crazily. As a result, there were thousands of books floating around him. Incorporeal characters floated out of the books and entered the youth's divine court. There were flowers in the divine court that looked like books. When opened, they could fuse with the books of heaven and earth. This was the divine court's book C. Yang Wu didn't hear any more of Yang Wen's words. His mood became somewhat low-key, but he soon recovered. He said to himself, "As long as he's still alive, it's fine. That brat has been a bookworm since he was young. Now that he's in some lousy academy, there are a lot of books to read. He should be living a good life. Maybe when he's done reading, we can meet again." Yang Wu was no longer worried about Yang Wen's safety. He could feel that his brother was not a short-lived person. In terms of opportunities, he might even be more blessed than him. If it was not for him, Yang Wen would have been the top scholar in the liberal arts and a fifth-rank official. He would have easily obtained the great Tao of Kongyang. Now that Yang Wen was free from the shackles of heaven and earth, and without his interference, everything would be smooth sailing. As he thought about it, there was a sound not far away. There was a flickering light that condensed into a circular millstone. The sun and moon appeared at the same time in the sky. The moonlight shone down, and the sunlight gathered on a person's body. The flowers and trees nearby grew crazily and soon died. After they died, they were born again. Even Yang Wu felt that it was an eye-opener for him to see such an amazing phenomenon. "Beautiful military advisor, this is going to be great," Yang Wu said happily. He treated Lu Ji like a brother. He was happy from the bottom of his heart that Lu Ji had recovered. Lu Ji had the innate body of war, and his cultivation would progress by leaps and bounds. He would not feel jealous at all. This was true brotherly love. The phenomenon did not last long. The Xian-Chi of heaven and earth in the surroundings all gathered at Lu Ji's location. Lu Ji's breath rose rapidly, but it was quickly suppressed by him. When everything calmed down, there was a beauty that soared into the sky, illuminating the world to the point that it lost its color. "Haha, my illness is finally completely cured." The beauty burst out the emotions that had been suppressed in his heart for many years. His laughter spread everywhere. Unfortunately, not many people could feel this joy. Soon, he rushed toward Yang Wu's location. He opened his arms and ran away, shouting happily, "Master, I love you so much." Chapter 871. The beautiful military advisor Lu Ji was even more beautiful than a woman. Men would fall head over heels for him, and beauties would be jealous of him, especially his pale face. It was even more pitiful. It really made people feel pity for him. Since he was young, he had a sickly body. No matter how much medicine he took, it couldn't be cured. There was once a doctor who judged that he wouldn't live past 30 years old. He was actually very depressed and sad. He wasn't afraid of death. He was also very afraid. He just didn't tell others. After meeting Yang Wu in the Death Legion, Yang Wu said that he could solve the root of his illness and prolong his life. He didn't take it seriously until Yang Wu showed his talent as an alchemist. Only then did he believe it was true. He had been looking forward to the day when the Tao would come. He firmly believed that Yang Wu could do it. He chose to worship Yang Wu as his lord, which meant that he acknowledged Yang Wu's existence. Even if he died, he would be Yang Wu's man. If Yang Wu heard this, he would probably kick this guy away. He didn't like being gay. Lu Ji swallowed the yin-yang saint pill. His body was reshaped by the pill. His life force that was once lacking was completely repaired. A yin-yang Dao flower appeared in his divine court. This was a natural Dao flower that contained the Dao of yin and yang. It was destined that Lu Ji didn't need to study the Dao of yin and yang too deliberately. He could also condense his own martial Dao and suppress his peers. This was the terrifying part of the yin-yang combat body. In addition, there were earth-shaking changes in his dantian. His earth sea turned into a yin-yang vortex, constantly gathering the power of yin and yang. The dragonfish was also black and white, looking very demonic. His body was full of qi. Yin and yang were constantly flowing. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels were full of vitality. His breath was very melodious. At this moment, his strength rose to the peak of the heavenly fish realm. He only needed one more step to enter the minor saint realm. His speed of improvement was very fast. Even Yang Wu was jealous. "My lord, do you dare to fight with me?" Lu Ji looked at Yang Wu and provoked. He felt that his combat strength was very strong. Even if he faced Yang Wu, he should have the strength to fight. "Are you sure?" Yang Wu looked at Lu Ji and asked playfully. Come, I have too much energy right now and need to vent it out." "My lord, please help me," Lu Ji said proudly. "Okay, I'll fulfill your wish. I'll use the strength of the heavenly fish realm to fight you." Yang Wu laughed, suppressed his strength to the primary heavenly fish realm, and soared into the sky to spar with Lu Ji. Whether Yang Wu was in the primary heavenly fish realm or at the peak of the heavenly fish realm, the power he could unleash was the same. He had honed each realm perfectly and broken through the limit. This was also the reason why he could defeat a semi-saint in the heavenly fish realm. As a result, Lu Ji suffered a tragedy. He thought that with his improved strength and the power of his yin and yang, he wouldn't be afraid of facing a dragon transformation realm warrior. But in front of Yang Wu, his power of yin and yang was shattered. His enviously beautiful face was beaten into a pig's head, and he was in so much pain that tears flowed out. "My lord, don't hit people in the face. How can you bully people like this?" Lu Ji cried as he pinched the corner of his clothes. "You asked me to hit you," Yang Wu said innocently. After a pause, he said, "Your strength is not bad, but unfortunately, you have too little combat experience. You can't exert your strength, and you don't have the corresponding combat skills to match. Yet you dare to provoke this lord. Your courage is commendable." "That's right. What I lack is combat skills. My lord, if you teach me a few combat skills, I will definitely rise quickly and become the invincible second master in the world." "My lord, you're the first," Lu Ji said heroically, but the last line of flattery was a bit blatant. Yang Wu said calmly, "Beautiful military counselor, in fact, you have already found your own way. You can form a unique defense with a simple way of formations. It's quite good. If you can integrate the way of formations into your combat skills, How powerful will you become? Yang Wu's words directly broke the barrier in Lu Ji's mind. He vaguely captured a way of his own. He murmured, using formations as combat skills. Yang Wu threw a universe ring to Lu Ji and said, "There are many formations here. Take it and study it. There are also some combat skills. Do as you see fit. I can't guide you on your way." Lu Ji took the universe ring and revealed a happy expression. He gently rubbed the universe ring and said, "This is the legendary universe ring. My lord has really become a great landlord. Stop talking nonsense. Let's go back." "All right, my lord. Where did that Sundo guy go? Wasn't he with you back then? Did he stay in the transcendent realm?" "I don't know where he is either. Before entering the transcendent realm, I separated from him. However, I think that guy should be living a more comfortable life than us. The next time I see him, I will let him know how powerful I am. Not only is this military counselor resourceful, I'm also stronger than him." Haha. Yang Wu and Lu Ji returned to the place where Wu Hobang had set up camp. Yang Wu left some medicinal liquids and pills for Wu Hobang. He hoped that in the next 3 years, Wu Hobang will be able to develop steadily and wait to be brought to the transcendent realm. After that, Yang Wu went to the Great Xia army alone. He was looking for one person, and that was the marshal of the army, Su Yinshui. The entire Su family had been killed. Su Yinshui was not included in the list. He had been guarding the border all this time and did not know about the sudden change in the royal city. The people of Mount did not have time to capture him, allowing him to escape. When Yang Wu arrived at the barracks, he quickly sensed Su Yinshui's location. He was not in the marshal's barracks, but was cultivating on a mountain outside the barracks. Su Yinshui was a handsome man. In the past, many young women in the dynasty had thrown flirtatious glances at him, hinting that if the man was not at home at night, they could spend the night with him. In the end, this guy did not understand the situation and ignored them. For the past few days, he had been feeling uneasy. He could not sit in the barracks to deal with important military matters, so he went to the mountain to cultivate. However, he still could not calm down. His eyelids were twitching violently, as if something had happened. He could not figure it out, and was guessing if the barbarian race had made a move again. However, the scouts in front did not report back, which really puzzled him. "I'm sorry, third uncle." When Yang Wu descended from the sky and appeared in front of him, he was quick-witted and instantly realized that something was wrong. Something had happened at home. "You little brat," appearing and disappearing unpredictably. Did something happen at the royal city? Su Yinshui asked with a cigarette in his mouth, puffing out smoke. Yang Wu nodded lightly and said, "Grandfather, first uncle, second uncle, and the others are all dead." The cigarette trembled and the ashes fell. Even the cigarette, but fell to the ground. The resolute man took another deep puff of the cigarette. Unfortunately, the cigarette but was gone, and he could no longer puff out smoke. He said faintly, "They left just like that? Yes, they were all killed by the people of Mount Amei. It's all my fault." Yang Wu answered solemnly. He then told Su Yinshui the whole story. Su Yinshui was so angry that he almost drove me out of the house. Later, I got into a fight with someone and was beaten up. That was terrible. That person was more powerful than our Su family. He was a young master of a first-rank Grand Tutor family. My martial artist master didn't dare to make trouble for him. It was your grandfather who led me and knocked on the Grand Tutor's door. In front of the old Grand Tutor, he whipped me again with a whip and said that I shouldn't bully others. At that time, I was the one who was being bullied. I really couldn't accept it. But when I was scolding him, I don't know what happened to the Grand Tutor, but he called his grandson over and asked your grandfather to whip him as well. At that time, I thought that the Grand Tutor was crazy. It wasn't until I grew up that I understood that your grandfather actually loved me very much. That year, after I broke through to the Earthsea realm, I wanted to show off to the old man, but he actually scolded me for not knowing how to serve the court. He scolded me and urged me to join the army like your father and become a commander-in-chief so that I could live up to my marshal yin title. But at that time, he didn't know that I was already a candidate for the position of city protector. My mission was to protect the peace of Yinwu City. So how could I not serve the court? After I became a city protector, I would be ranked secondary grade 3, no lower than those lieutenant generals. At that time, I didn't want to go back to the old man to talk about these things. I felt that he had always been a stubborn old man, as if he would forever be useless if no one took over his position as the Minister of Personnel. Later, your mother told me that the night I became a city protector, the old man was completely drunk. The commander-in-chief of hundreds of thousands of troops silently shed tears. Autumn leaves quietly drifted down, and wisps of autumn wind brushed past, quietly wiping away the tough man's tears. Everything was left behind by the wind. After the sunset slowly faded away, the young man threw a jar of wine at the tough man. They needed to get drunk to their heart's content. Old man, rest in peace. In the future, no one will dare to beat me, Suyin Shui. After the tough man drank a mouthful of wine, he shouted loudly and spilled the wine all over the place. The tough man was drunk. He said a lot of drunken words and also scolded the young man fiercely. The young man didn't talk back and just listened silently. He felt guilty. After the east gradually turned white, the young man carried the tough man and left the army. Chapter 872. The Wolf Smoke Mountain Range stretched for an unknown number of miles. This mountain range was very large and long. There were countless old trees, many exotic flowers and herbs, many wild beasts and spirit demons. Most of the time, even Earth-Sea Realm Kings would meet with misfortune if they ventured into this place. Shui Xiaofan was able to pass through the Wolf Smoke Mountain Range from the barbarian tribe. Now, other than Dan Zi, Yang Wu also had the beautiful military advisor Lu Ji, the commander Su Yin Shui, the young Shui Xiaofan, and the young girl Ai Sha. Yang Wu would definitely bring them to the Transcendent Realm. Now that the Spirit Formation Passage at Mount Amei was definitely sealed, if he brought them back, they would definitely be seen through by the people of Mount Amei. He didn't want to take this risk, so he prepared to pass through the Wolf Smoke Mountain Range and enter the barbarian tribe. They would head to the Heavenly Ladder to see if it was really the Spirit Formation Passage to the Transcendent Realm. Before that, he went to Death Valley. He entered the Transcendent Realm from there, but he didn't know if the Spirit Formation Passage could still be used. Entering the Wolf Smoke Mountain Range once again, Yang Wu recalled bits and pieces of the past. He felt that it was quite interesting. He didn't know if the wolf demons here still remembered him, or if the silver-patterned tortoise and fire cloud tiger were still fine. When they approached Death Valley, the wolf demons here had already moved far away. Even if the aura of death here no longer spread and grew, it still made the surroundings a forbidden area. Yang Wu's divine sense swept over and found that the creatures living nearby were just wild beasts that had yet to develop intelligence. He got everyone to wait here while he prepared to enter Death Valley to investigate. Then, he heard a tiger's roar from afar. He raised his eyebrows slightly and disappeared from his original spot. Very soon, he appeared in another direction. He looked down and saw a listless fire cloud tiger lying on a rock, basking in the sun. It would occasionally open its mouth and let out a few low cries. This fire cloud tiger looked very mighty. Its red fur was as dazzling as fire, and its body was very strong. Its body was much bigger than the average tiger demon. However, there was an extremely strange thing about it. Its tiger tail was actually smooth without a single hair. It was as if someone had plucked it out and there was no way for it to grow again. This was a tiger king. Who dared to pluck the hair from its tail? Suddenly, a hand grabbed onto its smooth tail. It was instantly shocked, and its tiger's mouth instinctively bit towards the hand that grabbed it. Before he could bite that hand, he was already lifted up into the air. He was so scared that he started to howl again and again. The tiger's roar shook the heavens and the earth, scaring the surrounding beasts into hiding in their caves. "Coward, you are still so easily frightened," Yang Wu said with a faint smile. Master." When a fire cloud tiger saw who it was, it couldn't help but become excited. Yang Wu casually threw the fire cloud tiger on the ground and said with a smile, "Your fur has grown back, but why hasn't the fur on your tail grown back?" Back then, in order to subdue this fire cloud tiger, Yang Wu used all his strength and plucked all the hair from its body before it was willing to submit. After the fire cloud tiger confirmed that it was Yang Wu, it pounced overexcitedly. Unfortunately, it was sent flying by Yang Wu's kick. He said in disdain, "You smell like a tiger. Don't dirty my clothes." "Master, it's really master." Roar. The fire cloud tiger cried out excitedly. Ever since its master disappeared, it had been hanging out with the wolf demon clan. However, the wolf demon clan couldn't stand the pollution of the death aura and migrated. Only it and the silver patterned turtle stayed. However, the silver patterned turtle was more active than the king of tigers. It wasn't lazy like the turtle clan at all. After that guy broke through to the heaven demon realm, it looked down on it even more. Fortunately, that guy still had some conscience and came back to check on it from time to time. In fact, it knew that the guy didn't come back to check on it, but to see if its master had returned. How many times did that guy say that its master wasn't coming back and wanted it to leave with it? However, it always believed that its master would definitely return. As expected, its persistence wasn't wrong. Its master really did return. "Quiet," Yang Wu said as he pressed his palm against its head. The fire cloud tiger quickly quieted down and quietly rubbed against the palm, feeling much more at ease. Actually, if its master still didn't return, it wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. The death aura in the surroundings was not pleasant to the nose. "Where's little Silver?" Yang Wu asked. Seeing the fire cloud tiger again, he was in a good mood. Although he didn't need such a mount with his current strength. Who asked him to be so sentimental? That ungrateful guy. He used the pill that Master left for him to break through to the heaven demon realm. He didn't put me in his eyes and often bullied me. He even urged me to leave this place as soon as possible, saying that Master wouldn't return. However, I felt that Master was blessed by the heavens and would definitely return. Reality proved that I was right. The fire cloud tiger said, with a fawning expression. Yang Wu lightly patted the fire cloud tiger's head and said, "You're not bad. I just don't know if you're speaking the truth." He looked in a direction and saw a young man with a hunchback walking over. This was a spirit demon that had transformed into a human. His face was suffused with silver marks and his arms were covered with scales. His entire body flowed with a vicious aura as his gaze landed on the fire cloud tiger. When the fire cloud tiger saw this young man, it hid behind Yang Wu with his swoosh and said in a trembling voice, "Master, please protect me. I'm speaking the truth." It was rare to see such a cowardly tiger king. The hunchback young man came in front of Yang Wu and knelt down on one knee. "Greetings to Master." Yang Wu examined the young man and nodded lightly. Seems like you're doing well." "Not bad. It's just that there aren't many opponents in this place." The young man lifted his head and said with high fighting spirit, "Is that so? Then let me see how strong you've become." Yang Wu smiled lightly. "Master, are you sure? Come, use your strongest attack on me and see if you can hurt me. Then I'll have to offend you." The hunchback young man responded and bounced up like a bow. His fists rained down on Yang Wu like raindrops. The strength of his fists had reached the mid-level heaven demon realm. Every punch was extremely powerful. Even a mid-level heaven realm creature wouldn't dare to take it head-on. The strength of his fists was too domineering. Dozens of punches, each with a force of 1,000 cauldrons, could even collapse a mountain. During Yang Wu's absence, the silver-patterned tortoise worked harder than the fire cloud tiger. He was very ambitious and wasn't willing to be Yang Wu's mount unless Yang Wu was always stronger than him. In order to surpass Yang Wu, he often went to the pool to spar with the old tortoise after breaking through to the heaven fish realm. At first, he was beaten black and blue by the old tortoise. Later, after sparring again and again, his injuries became lighter and lighter. Until half a year ago, when he broke through to the mid-level heaven demon realm, he beat the old tortoise until the old tortoise called him Grandpa. He liked the feeling of being superior. He came to see if Yang Wu had returned many times. He didn't want to follow Yang Wu, but wanted to defeat Yang Wu and regain his freedom. He had been waiting for this day for a long time. Therefore, he did not show any mercy. He was like a tortoise punching a tyrant. Bang bang. The silver-patterned tortoise's fists landed on Yang Wu's body, producing a dull sound. Yang Wu's body was like a mountain, not moving at all, and there wasn't a single wound on him. The silver-patterned tortoise's eyes widened. He wasn't willing to admit defeat like this. He shouted, and silver patterns appeared on his fists. The power of his fists rose again, and it was comparable to the power of a high-level heaven realm or even a top-level heaven realm expert. At the same time, his fists landed on Yang Wu, hoping to send Yang Wu flying. Yang Wu still didn't move. The black tortoise armor on his body floated, and the silver-patterned tortoise's attack was reflected back. The silver-patterned tortoise was sent flying by the force of his own attack. After the silver-patterned tortoise broke many trees, he finally came to a stop. He looked at the defensive power on Yang Wu's body in shock and knelt down once again. Master is invincible. Little Silver was wrong. Yang Wu stretched out a palm and grabbed the silver-patterned tortoise. He didn't injure the silver-patterned tortoise and calmly asked, "Do you feel that your strength isn't bad and you can challenge my prestige?" Little Silver overestimated myself. "Master, please forgive me." The silver-patterned tortoise spoke in fear. In the past, he was unconvinced by Yang Wu because Yang Wu was from the human race. Even if Yang Wu's strength was stronger than his, he was still unconvinced. Now he was completely convinced. Not only was it because Yang Wu's martial prowess was still stronger than his, but it was also because the black tortoise aura emitted from Yang Wu's body was too dense, and it just happened to suppress the power of his bloodline. It was like a subject meeting a monarch. He had no choice but to submit. Your strength is still far from enough." Yang Wu coldly snorted and ruthlessly smashed the silver-patterned tortoise into a rock in the distance. Bang! That huge rock was smashed into pieces by the silver-patterned tortoise's body. When the Fire Cloud Tiger saw this scene, he continuously gulped and turned his head away. He really couldn't bear to look at it. Yang Wu didn't pay attention to the two of them and rushed into Death Valley. The aura of death here was much thinner than before. Without the protection of a human-faced beast and the destruction of the boundary passage, the aura of death here couldn't form the ability to regenerate and spread. It was normal for the aura of death here to slowly dissipate into the world. Yang Wu stepped into this place and activated the Tao of Death, absorbing the aura of death here into the Divine Court Tao flower to strengthen the power of the Tao of Death. He pulled out the Scythe of Death, hoping that the Scythe of Death would cause other movements here. However, he was disappointed. Other than some rotten corpses, there was nothing strange in this world. The boundary passage had also completely disappeared. Even when he opened his soul eye to check, he didn't find anything. He had to give up the idea of leaving here. Looks like I can only go to the barbarian race. Yang Wu sighed softly and absorbed all the aura of death here, not allowing this power to threaten the living beings here. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly found a demonic black flower breaking out of the ground and swallowing him.